good. All right. All right. All right. We're going to get out of it. Bad peace, everybody. Peace, 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 peace to everybody. But I want to give this illumination. I hope it touched some people because it's very, very, very important at this stage that we're going in. Just understanding history and culture. Not telling nobody what to do, but having a clear understanding of culture when we don't let anyone tell the story from the wrong perspective per se. Just like when I talk about religion and spirituality. And I try to tell a lot of people, modern, when we use certain words that's synonymous to other words, like for instance, the type of spirituality that I represent is I don't represent nothing outside of myself. I represent God and man. I represent that aspect. We already had this before anyone can give us a book from anybody that colonized. Now, not saying that we don't have a cultural and a spiritual history. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is a lot of things that's just given to us and we take as truth, it's not what it is. Especially when I talk about the image of God and certain pictorial things in history, it's not even what we think it is. I mean, we have scholars like John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben Ivan Van Sertima, Chancellor Wilson, Dr. Francis Krauss Wilson, myself, others, and it's no secret. All I try to tell brothers and sisters that a lot of things that we already had, it was took and put in the book into a different type of story, into an exoteric story. And that's what I try to show my brothers and sisters, especially today when we come from, when we say a more science perspective. It's just like in any other form of arts and crafts or anything else. A person that say, well, they may be this or they may hold this title or this degree, which that may be. But I always tell people the type of science and the understanding that I represent. I don't represent any man. I'm not orthodox. I don't gravitate to one science to where I miss the essence of the rest. I don't teach anything like that. Now, I teach a clear understanding of those different sciences, that we choose to have a clear understanding on. But also we talk about and build upon the things of life that we can use in our everyday life, you know? But yeah, I just want to show some things from, I don't know if some people may have read them, you may have heard some of this stuff. I'm gonna come around from a different, from a few scholarly perspectives and a few cultural perspectives, because I have some of my books out. But the first aspect I definitely want to speak on is like when we talk about certain religions and things and perspective and historical perspective, it's a piece of wisdom called Christian Slavery, Conversion and Race in the Protestant Athletic World by Catherine Gerbner. And this is, well, I got my background on, it might be hard to see it, but the book looks like this, you know, and it just talks about some things, how when a lot of people in those so-called slavery days, you were still a Christian slave, under the Protestant Christian religion, they still considered you a Christian slave, you know, and that's just what it is. It's here, and so even when we talk about the Black Christian codes, it comes from a perspective of subjugation, that Protestant aspect of Christianity. You know, I'll just give a couple highlights of what the chapters are. Like chapter 1 is Christian slavery in the Atlantic world, Protestant supremacy, Quaker slavery and the slave rebellion, from Christian to white, the imperial politics of slave conversion, the SPG and slavery, inner slavery and spiritual freedom, defining true conversion, pro-slavery theology and black Christianity. So all this stuff is in this history, Christian slavery, from the Protestant perspective. From the Protestant perspective. And hold on. Trying to get a little bit of this tea. Sorry about that. But yeah, from a Protestant perspective, and I always try to tell people about and talk to brothers and sisters about these certain aspects of religion, you know, and things that were brought to us. And what does the text say? Like, even I've spoken to a lot of Mormons. I speak to a lot of Jews. Like, I read the Talmud. I asked them questions about their literature and the things that it say. And a lot of times it just be dry moments. So that's why I always say we should be able to get in the realms to go over documents and study, especially if we have those. Where are my glasses at? Especially if we have those that have the research and do the research to share the research. You know, I mean, just like any other platform, Amazon, Google Books, we have that here. But I always tell brothers and sisters that the information is there and it's available for us. You know, it's available for us to research. It's available for us to converse. It's available for us to share. Because I always try to, when brothers talk about Moorish science and different crafts and masonry, what brothers resort to is acting like gangs. And I say that's not what wisdom is about. It's all levels of wisdom. I use the form of going through the form of schooling, where you go to elementary, middle school, high school. You may go to college and go for advanced degrees and masters and doctorates and so on and so forth. So that's what I'm saying about the level and the degree of wisdom when we deal with different brothers and sisters that maybe have titles or portrayed to have titles of sheep this or that, and they only are one-trick ponies because they're banging on things that they may feel is important, but it's not doing anything. And so we have to get into the realm of really not dissing wisdom and education and comparing and contrast and say, okay, wait a minute, this makes sense, this doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Doing those things as scholars and Moors and noble thinkers, especially for those that have the information. So when we talk about, for me, I don't teach no religion to tell you what to go to, because that's not what I don't teach. I don't teach a religious or tell you what's better than the other. I have a clear understanding of all of it. If you understand monotheism, you know, if you and the spirituality I teach. If you like the Bible and the Quran, I teach from a perspective of unity. I teach from a perspective. I have to teach who I am in history and spiritually. What's my other mission? Now, I'm not saying righteousness is not for all man, because righteousness is for all man. But to resurrect our brothers and sisters and to give back to our community something that I went to academia for, something that I got degrees in, and I've been honored and allowed to be the auspices over a group of brothers and sisters that understand what we're trying to do, I feel responsible. And I feel no one should limit your wisdom, because the science I teach is not orthodox. And I tell people they can choose those things. But when you deal with a lot of that stuff, you're not dealing with wisdom. You're not dealing with education. You're not dealing with scholarship. You're not dealing with history. You're dealing with tradition. You know what I mean? And that's not how I operate. So that was one aspect of it. But when we talk about, like, when I talk about history and like science, and I know people, especially Moors, they love our Prophet Noble Drew Ali, sometimes to a default, because they so gun ho on that, which, hey, it is what it is. But myself, I have the pleasure to study all wisdom within. So when I'm able to teach, when I'm able to go other places, I'm welcome. Like I said, I never gravitated to one science where I missed the essence of all the rest. I was able to study it. And so when I talk about other sciences like Credo Matua, and when you look up David Icke was a European, a journalist, and Credo Matua had to go in hiding, in exile. Why David Icke made millions off documenting this man's history and culture when we talk about the reptilian. And it's just so much in history and culture that, how can I say, may be put in a back burner that a lot of us don't even know. And so when we don't know, it can be packaged up a certain way, and we can call it spookism. Or you can see how, no disrespect, the European and Albion, the Trelodite, Alex Crowley and them, they'll take the science and try to revert it. Because they were doing sick stuff. I mean, these is just facts. And so a lot of our culture, history, what I talk about, like when I talk about Credo Matua, because even when I deal with other science, I say just because you are more, the science and your history and your culture and your stories from your medicine man, that don't change. Because I tell people, yes, it can be one nationality, but many cultures. Like your culture and your historicalness doesn't change if you understand. And no one can change that if you have a clear understanding. Because remember, I just said myself and those that understand how I understand and what the Holy Spirit has revealed to me, we're under the triple rose. So we have a clear understanding. But we don't gravitate to any signs where we miss the essence of the rest. And we don't believe in nothing outside of ourselves, because anything outside of ourselves is truth shirt. Because the closest place we understand where God is in our heart. God is not outside of man. So when brothers and sisters have a clear understanding of that, we don't have no argument with no one's a level of wisdom and spirituality. When we have a clear understanding of all three religious rights, I don't have a problem with it. But I know it's a lot of Moors and other brothers and sisters that's limited in their academia, in their historical studies, in their spiritual studies. I know that. How? Because when we did certain things, I'll give you a certain analogy. The same way when you see a lot of melanated brothers and sisters that's Moors and they did the Kemetic science, they think Masonry belongs to someone totally outside of self. And I just showed this, what all the first century writers wrote about. Albert Churchward, Gerald Massey, Albert Boyd Kahn. Like, it's written. And so it's no disrespect. So when I talk about Credo Matua and when I been able to study different sciences and different spiritualities and have a clear understanding what's going on, and see with an eye, not get caught up in some of the things that some others may get caught up in, but really use the tools that need to be used. This is the part of the science when we can put it in the a vernacular of more science that a lot of brothers get twisted because they don't understand the culture. Because I guarantee you today, if any of these brothers, peace be among their spirits, that I show today, that I speak on, that I'm going to speak on, I bet you that they understood that they were Moors. I bet you, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, they all knew, you know. But when it comes down to your understanding and your culture and your sect, that if you understand, no one can break down your oral tradition. If you understand, you know. So when he talked about the Zulu shaman, you know, in this piece of history, you know, I'm gonna start playing a lot of the films that I have of a lot of elders, you know, back in the day, that a lot of people may not have seen, or you may have, but it's just good to see those things and to see the regalia and to see all the cultureness that you never seen before. You'd be like, okay, well, where all his regalia? Where all his jewels? Where all those heads and stuff at? Where are they? You'll be like, the rabbit hole get deep. When you see certain people, they go to a certain part of the country to understand this wisdom. You know? So this is like the voodoo shaman that a lot of Jews, they'll take your science and try to twist it in a certain way, like how they take the turkey and throw it over the roof and all that stuff. A lot of stuff they take, or you will see and think is original from them, and it's not. With all due respect, and then people to let we'll let the unknown say, oh, this is something that's not normal, which it is normal, and people copy, you know. And even Matua, you know, he had history because, as he tell, he was an English trained Christian scholar, you know. But then he started feeling his father's footsteps, his grandfather's footsteps, as a shaman and keeper of folklore, you know. And in that story talks about the adventures of the god Kunta, the Zulu relations with the fiery visitors. He was talking about how Kunta Kinte had that relationship with them Europeans. No disrespect. Whom he likened to extraterrestrials. And then also when he said he's spoken to the extraterrestrials as well. And he wanted to preserve the knowledge and encourage, you know, his vision of the world unite in peace and harmony. And Matua shares this. Guard as seekers of the Zulu, healing and spiritual practices, including the curing power of the Sangoma and the psychic power of the Zulu. You know? And so that's all I'll be trying to tell people. Don't let no one destroy your teachings and because you don't know and just say this is it, because that's not it. Because when you look at it and coming from science and truth, this is what it is. And people be missing the whole context of what's going on. What's above is below. I mean, if it got to be some good, it has to be something bad. And then we start thinking about these concepts and be like, well, wait a minute. That's something that should happen. We talk about in the continent of Africa. And so right here in the Zulu, right? Now watch this. Right here in like Pretoria, South Africa, near Johannesburg, you know, you can go in that area and it's sculpture paintings and it was teachings of that. In the book Mbala, My Children has become a classic of African literature. But you can see how, if I show you, man, I think I'm gonna have to go on my files, how where he was at, they tried to They put crosses on things, try to make it look like it's ancient, but you can tell it's not. But all these parts of the continent of Africa where you had historicalness and where the story would be connotated and then given to someone else to tell a story. And so right here, what I'm talking about, Credo Matua, in a part of the continent of Africa, under science and a part of history. And like I said, when you research David Icke, and to see all the interviews David Icke did of Credo Matua, you know, and you will get a good idea. And David Icke became a multi-millionaire, might be, who knows, off interviewing your culture. When I say your, I mean, those that, not afraid of it. When people call it, try to connotate it as something else. So even when I talk about another brother in the continent, you have this brother. Oh, y'all can't even see that. Oh, damn. Yeah. You have this brother. Sufi. Sheikh Sufi. Amandu Baba. You have Sheikh Sufi. And that's what I tell brothers and sisters. I'll be like, man, come on now. We cannot be that uneducated when we try to, because I love Noble Drew Ali, But I say, we got brothers like myself and others that's Sufis, that's Tasawwuf, that has a rich history and a rich culture. Yes, we're here today, but we don't gravitate to one science where we miss the essence of the rest. Not me. I'm not Orthodox. I tell everyone this every time they meet me. They come with what, Noble Drew Ali and all, who's the Supreme Grand Sheikh and all this. I say, man, I don't care. I say that's great. 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 I say that is great. But they were all Moors. Even when I say I've had the pleasure to deal with culture, like I don't diss culture, but I know who I am. I mean, I deal with all my tarot cards. I deal with my Orisha, I deal with my navigators, mystic cards, a lot of stuff I don't talk about because it's not for public, and I don't do things for public, I deal with the Aligua. I do all those things. I deal with the Tibetan bowls, all those. Why? Because those are things that I will have the pleasure to be able to study. And keep culture things going on. When I tell brothers and sisters, there's no pissing contest. It's just like if we was all studying martial arts, right? And someone said, oh, okay, well, I'll study I'll just say the so-so whatever dojo. And then other brothers say, well, okay, well, I study at the, at the what it say, the BBT. And Sheikh Khari Goodman is the, the Sufi or the Sifu of the BBT. And shit, all the students not only know how to defense with their feet and hands and weapons, but also they mentally right, they physically right. Professional, they know how to guard and all these extra things. And I said, it's levels to everything. It's just like if you're going to somewhere for wisdom and you got enough and there's somewhere else you can get wisdom from. So instead of adding value to, we don't. It's just like when people may be charismatic, but they not leaders. Like some people may be good orators, but they not leaders. Like when I tell people, are you an activist? Because a sheikh is a leader of a small group of people. That's what a sheikh is, a leader of a brother of a small group of people. That do things, that have brothers, that have families. And the thing that I have an issue with a lot of brothers, they diss education. I said, why would we diss education? And you have children, and that's the one thing you want your kid to do is what? Get a great education. Every God man, every God body, every Sufi right now that's in the United States of America right now that got children, you want your child to be the best they can be. And if they want to go to the university and learn, you with that. And if anybody get on here and say that they not, they just lying. Because you ain't finna send them to, what school you gonna send them to? If they want to go for advanced studies. Would you be unbiased and teach history from all perspective because you know it, or would you teach a perspective all you know? See, because you can't teach what you don't know. That's why I tell people that I don't study too many books and understand and have too many books and had the pleasure to research to believe anything in a book, because the inside must match the outside. You know. And so, if anybody understands, anybody have the eyes to see, these brothers, they were Moors. Sheikh Bamba, like everything, listen, Rasul, all this stuff, they were Moors. If you read their family, who they were, I mean, everybody know I'm telling the truth, but what type of Islam was they under? You know, what type was it? That's why I ask people, it's like, wait a minute now, like, don't get it twisted. I love Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Don't get me wrong. I love Prophet Noble Drew Ali. It's just like when, like, I have a brother. I have a brother from Hawaii that taught me and my wife Wing Chun. I call it sticky hands when I have my temple in Arizona. A Grand Master, you know. I used to have free classes at my temple. But listen to this. Mauritania. Wait, let me get back to a part where I was sharing with one of my brothers, especially one of my muftis, Gregory Mossel El, actually went to the community. And when I was talking one day, he was like, "Man, it sounds like something." I said, "Yeah." I said, "It sounds familiar, don't it?" You know. And that's why I tell people, it's like, no, man, we're not gonna diss science. And even when I talk about a lot of the Sufi hadith, it's so deeper. It's so deeper. You know what I mean? Than what people read. You know, because a lot of brothers and sisters only been given a certain aspect. You're not gonna go to that other level. You know, when I'm talking about the Sufi hadith. A lot of people never even, it's right in the Quran when I talk about, I don't have a problem with brothers doing the traditional 5 salats. But in the Quran, they don't say 5. That's the rest time. But that's a whole nother teaching. I mean, it's so much. Matter of fact, I was talking to one of my, because like I said, this on my personal page, so I gotta share things that I, have conversation with brothers and sisters as we're building and as we're going to the next level. I asked, one of my homies was talking about, he used to be in the Nation of Islam, and I was talking about the Berlin Conference was about stealing the wealth from Africa, you know what I mean, and what happened during the Berlin Conference, he was like, damn, he was like, he never even heard of that. But also, we was talking about, in the Quran, the figure known as Yaqub is the prophet Jacob. And it's a significant figure in Islam, distinct from the Yaqub of the Nation of Islam. So, he was like, what did you say, Sheikh? I said, now, we having this discussion because I know some Nation of Islam brothers, my cousin used to be Nation. And then I know some Sunni Muslim, and I know they believe different. Because a lot of the Nation of Islam brothers don't study the Quran, may not even understand it or follow it in things. But no disrespect to no one. But I say, okay, well, what, based off the Quran, this Yaqub story, how you explaining it, is I'm sorry. I mean, no matter what nobody say or how nobody feel, this is no disrespect to nothing. I tell people, like, we're not stupid. In the Quran, the figure known as Yaqub is the prophet Jacob, a significant figure in Islam, distinct from the Yaqub of the Nation of Islam. The Quran refers to Jacob as a prophet and a virtuous individual, right? So we know about all that blah, blah, blah. But prophet Jacob, the Quran mentions Jacob Yaqub, who is also known as Jacob in the Bible, as a revered prophet. From my understanding, now I know all in different history, you had different figures of that figure, Yaqub, spelled a different way, but they ain't want to talk about no Yaqub, no big head freaking scientist. No disrespect to no one, because the Quran don't testify to that. With all due respect. And everybody with wisdom be like, yeah, that's right. I'm like, I know. Surah 33 and 53. I'm not going to read it all, but just a little tittle. O ye who believe, enter not the prophet's house until leave is given you for a meal, and then not so early as to wait for the preparation. But when ye are invited, enter, and when ye have taken your meal, disperse without seeking familiar talk. Such behavior annoys the prophet. He is ashamed to dismiss you, but Allah is not ashamed to tell you the truth. And when ye ask his ladies for anything ye want, ask them from before a screen that makes for greater purity for your hearts and for theirs. I hope you know what that means. Nor is it right for you that ye should annoy Allah's messenger, or that ye should marry his widows after him at any time. Truly such a thing is Allah's sight and enormity. I started with this ayat 33 and 53 because people consider Suraj Tuba as an equal or simply a teacher. You know, and I know it goes on to go on. And that's what I tell people. Like, and even when I tell people from when you sit down and have a understanding when they say such and such is God in the flesh and all that, I understand, you know, but not the God. I understand, you know, the God and man aspect. I get that. I get that a person can have those, how can I say, attributes and things. And the sky God thing, I understand that. But I also understand, like, whoa, I also understand history and culture. I also understand that we don't have to deal with no mystery and no sky God and no pretendo stuff and things that we don't know. I also know that a prophet and angel come from amongst your own people. I also know you have the choice. And when it comes to this science, that's what this is about. This is the uniting of Asia. If brothers and sisters are cultural and historical, we not dissing nothing. We have a clear understanding. Remember that. Now you have all different facets of wisdom, of science. You know? But I just wanted to make a little point, you know? You say they're high science, but they ignored that with ayah best and fastest way of Allah. But what it's saying here, I want to show like a lot of the surahs from Surah 49, 1 and 18. I really challenge people to read those. You know? I don't want to read them all, but I would ask brothers and sisters to read Surah 49, 1 through 18. And just, you know, to see how it make you feel. You know? And Sheikh Ibrahim stated that it is from these surahs, 33 and 49, that he took the Mouride path. He took the Mouride path. The Mouride or the Mouride path. The Mouride path. And taught it to all Mourides. Mourides. Yep. He's also Naj. By definition, Naj means open way, road, course, method, or manner. Same way when you have other names that's synonymous. You know, when we use other Islamic names, you know? So the way of Sheikh Ibrahim is what? The Mouride way. That's the way. The way of Sheikh Ibrahim is what? The Mouride way. That's why I tell brothers, we're not going to let nobody diss culture. We're not going to do that. We're not letting nobody draw no line down on their back because they so orthodox and all they talk about is some old stuff. It's some men and who the Supreme Grand Sheikh, and then you give your science to people. And when I just gave all the history, Albert Churchward, Gerald Massey, all the first century writers, European, tell you that it's your signs and symbols. When you take the compass and the square apart, those are two tools. And one of them was on your damn pencil when you was in elementary. The circle and the square, the square is the graduation cap, the hex alpha. Both have 360 degrees of wisdom if you know how to use your tools that's on your damn elementary tools. This is what I be telling brothers. All Masonic symbols are nothing but mathematical equations and navigation and constellations, all of them. All of them, the rose and the cross. I be teaching brothers this. It's not European science. It's our science. Brothers just not, they don't know it. I'm part of the Philosophical Research Society. I'm 99 degrees, ancient writing, Memphis, and Mizraim. I have my own charter with my brothers. I'm not gonna sit up here and let nobody take the science and then we act stupid and say, well, Noble Drew Ali didn't teach this, that, and the other. Okay, fine. Now what? Now what you want to say? Well, Noble Drew Ali didn't teach this. Okay, great. Okay, now what? Can't say nothing. Ain't nothing else to say. Okay, he didn't. Well, if he didn't, he didn't. But I'm telling you, a lot of things that was taught, most brothers don't know because they into a different type of teachings, and you have to let them have that. You know. So I know you talk about your teacher, you made Kadeem Rasul. But anyway, we know what those names mean. The disciples is disciplined the Moradines the same way that the other sheiks did, you know? The same way that the Shahabas in front of Prophet Muhammad, peace be among them, you know? And so I just want brothers to see that, you know? That's all. We don't want nobody to strip the science and wisdom, because I can go a little deeper with it, but I want to go on, you know. I want to go on because we can go way deeper with it, and we can deal with some ayats, or we can deal with some good poems. I got just so much beautiful things from our culture that we just have to be okay, you know. Especially when brothers be saying they the sheiks of this and that and the other, and the people sheik. Okay, I get that, and it's a group, and it's something for everybody. It's a class of people, and I say it's always levels of things. And I tell people I'm not orthodox. I'm not arguing over no whole bunch of old men. When we hear growth and development, we're not here to do anything else, to be arguing, making a mockery of ourselves as men. We're here to build. That's what we're here to do. So, also another part of our culture and our history, when I talk about, as a lot of people be asking me what my beads are a lot of times, and some of the stuff, as you see, my topi is Aligua, and I'm thankful for my brother that honored me with, you know, with the topi. He was like, well, you wear kufis, like I see you got all different types. And he was like, we want you to have something, you know. Peace, Noble Brian. Peace and love, my brother. And he was like, we want you to have something. And I was like, okay. And so when he gave me a lot of stuff, and we talk on the phone, we do some things, we go over some things, and you know, there's a lot of cultural sciences that I'm into that I do it for myself and to cover my brothers. I don't do none of this stuff for gain. You don't see me on the internet like a lot of these women. No disrespect. If any of y'all on here, somebody asked me, do you know this woman? She said she know you, and I said I don't teach nobody reading the Tarets. Nobody that know me will be like, well, she taught me how to read no Tarets, because I'm not showing nobody this for gain. That's not for gain when you have a skill like that. It's not for that. It's in culture, those type of the figures was taken care of. It wasn't nothing for gain, so it was just like a regular thing, you know. And so I do that regular with my muftis, you know. It's natural. The cards is meaningless. But make a long story short, let's proceed. So a lot of stuff when I talk about a lot of bit of our signs and symbols that we have, and I tell you like different religions, like Catholics, how they take the turkey and throw it, that comes from your culture. But I don't want to stay too far in this type of science, you know what I mean? Or it can be even the Orisha, you know? The Pataki, you know? A lot of the sacred stories that was passed down. And like, I just had the pleasure and the honor to be able to do these things, you know? And why illegal eats first, you know? And why people be afraid of our sciences and our history and our rituals and don't even have a clear idea. And I'll be like, well, a lot of things you looking right at it in other perspective, but not catching it, you know? You know? And that's what I tell people, the history and the culture. Just like how Aligua healed God Almighty. You know, and then we be like, what you mean, how did Aligua heal God Almighty? Because culture is gonna have the cultural story. Just like when I showed you the Igbo and the Igbo, the Jews of Nigeria, which the European agree. I showed you, you have your God, the same thing, the same stories, and they know it. It's just a rewritten story from your culture. I'll give you a little bit of the background story of how that happened in the science. And don't it sound the same if you understand culture? Back in the days when Oludumare was preparing his departure from Earth, leaving his children, the Orisha, to take over the role of active gods of his planet, something unthinkable occurred. Father Oludumare, God Almighty himself, fell ill. This confused all the Orisha because they were under the impression that the Great One was incapable of experiencing sickness. Laying in his luxuriant silk blankets, the unusual vital patriarch seemed to be ebbing away. But that's how the story goes and blah, 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 blah. But the God saved him. God's two most powerful children began preparation to face the unthinkable. But the death of God, the Ifa, destiny personified, divided that there was one Orisha they had all forgotten to consult. Ishu Baliki, a tiny, wondrous, childlike Orisha who enjoyed living where refuse was gathered or deep in the jungle. Because of his strange appearance and nasty disposition, Isha Baliki had been ostracized by his fellow Orishas, which suited him fine since he preferred to be alone. And you know how when I show you some of the Orisha shells, and you'll see like it look like a little face disfigurement, and I'm gonna show you some of the other stuff that it should be getting here soon, and it has a lot of the different Orisha figures on it. I even got feathers and stuff. I'll show y'all, but I don't want to stay too far in that, But a lot of things, as I started doing, for my culture, it showed me something. Even with my brothers that's Israelites, and I don't want to say Hebrew, I'm gonna say Israelites, when they blow the shofar, and I say, when they see me doing that, and they like, damn, what you mean? They like, you were this and that. I said, no, I understand my culture. When they see me with my talent, they be like, well, what? They be like, well, They see me with my kayo, and I said, brother, I understand. You should understand too. As a map and a guide, when I tell people I'm all that, even when I talk to my 5% brothers, I said, nobody's going to put a line down my back. When you're dealing with just like if you're dealing with a holy teacher, or you're dealing with a medicine man, a shaman, or you're dealing with a supreme, a teacher that say, no, we're not going to just stay with one. That's fine, but I'm going to teach you it all. We're going to rise above the material base. We have to, And so when I talk about our culture and our African culture, they strip it from you, and you will see it'll look like one of the shell had a little feather on it, the rock Aligua, with offerings. I'll show you. I'll take a picture of it, and I have it in somewhere in my little sanctuary, because I lost my brother. I killed Jelani Goodman Bay, and so I have a little things, my rock Aligua, with my offerings, and I can show you this all through history. All through different cultures. You'd be like, damn, they probably know what she talking about. I said, yeah. The path of Aligua. Even in Cuban, Babalawa, Adrian D. Sosa Hernandez has noted in his superlative tome on Ishu Aligua, in his writings. In 1998, page 37, each artifact or being has its own Ishu. Don't doubt. Now, what do you think that means? Although most traditions in Cuba, Santeria, so when I talk about the Orisha, the Santeria, all of it teach that the Ishu and the Aligua had 21 paths, manifestations or avatars per se. And why you think they did the movie Avatar in blue? I'll teach you a whole nother day. Why you think Peter Moon, his book, The Montauk Theory? The figure must be taken as a symbol. Each Odu chapter in the Ifa corpus has its own Ishu. This alone brings the total to 256. Watch, I'll teach you about the 256 later. Add to that number to many manifestations of the trickster Orisha, which have to come up to different diasporic Orishas, worshiping populations in the New World. I'm telling you, the roles of Ishu in the Cuban Santeria, I can show you all this, especially with my Cuban Moors or my Moorish Cubans, but I don't even use that word Cuban. I just call them Moors. That's like when I deal with my the Igbo and the Igbos of Nigeria. Same thing. Eligua, Abali, a messenger, Avatar, the one who helps, which cleans and decides where to dispose of sacrificial remains. Ishu, Ashi, Kalu, Eligua, Afra, Ishu, Afrodi, and Ishu, Agroi. I mean, same thing when you start breaking these things down. I don't want to get too deep in it because a lot of those things are just for private teachings. And as we continue to go on, when I talk about another set of wisdom in the Orthodox Ethiopian Tewahedo faith, you know, when I talk about the Tewahedo faith, you know, even the literary book of the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, you know, and I say, man, I'm not gonna let nobody draw no doubt, no line down my back, and if I study and I have a clear understanding, I'm not gonna do it. I'm just not gonna let nobody that's ignorant. I don't care, because I'm not here for likes. We're gonna have a temple in school. I had one before on my own down now. I want to restructure it and build it with the people, for we all can have a stakeholders. For we can have our library. Tewahedo means made one. It refers to the incarnation of Christ, the complete union of his divine and human nature into one. What that mean in more science? More science, we say what? Man and God is one. Nothing is outside ourselves. Anything outside of ourselves is true shirk. Without mixture, without one changing the nature of the other, and without separation. The closest place to find God is in our heart. The name was adopted in 451 AD after the hearsay of Eutyches and the Council of Chalcedon, which declared that Christ had two natures. The Beta Christian is the Ethiopian word for church. Beta means house of. So Beta Christian literally means house or worship place of Christians. Yet in the church, I would rather speak 5 words. 1 Corinthians 14 and 19. But it means more than just a place of worship or a house of Christians. Each Christian is also Beta Christian when you come together as a church. 1 Corinthians 11 and 18. Beta Christian also refers to the gathering or the union of Christians. Then the churches throughout all Judah, Galilee, and Samaria had peace and were edified. Wait till I'm gonna share videos of John Henry Clark telling people the Africanness of Christianity, and where, yeah, we understand the Islamic studies, and yeah, we understand this, but things was whitewashed in history that you have no idea. Acts 9 and 31. Beta Christian also refers to the union of angels and saints in heaven, but the Jerusalem above is free, which is the mother of all of us. Galatians 4 and 26. The Jerusalem that is above is the church in heaven, the union of angels and saints. But you have come to Mount Zion and to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, to an innumerable company of angels, to the general assembly of the church, of the firstborn who has registered in heaven, to God the judge of all, to the spirit of just men made perfect. Hebrews 12, 22 to 23. It also refers to the union of the faithful on earth and the saints in heaven. You are the body of Christ and members individually. 1 Corinthians 12 and 27. God of the Egyptians, God of the Hebrews, God of the Ethiopians, God of the Rastafarians, the pantheon of gods. Praise Yah's holy name. The Yoso Somos code. Hiya, hiya, hiya. Even when I deal with that aspect, what you mean, Sheik? The Yoso Somos code. When I talk about a palindrome word, what's a palindrome word, Sheik? When you got the same way with the word going to the right as it does to the left. Spell Haya, Hayah, and then start in the middle with the Y. Go to the right, what you got? AH. Go to the left, what you got? AH. Hiya, 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 hiya. A Yoso Somos code. We'll teach that later. I'll lecture this all on campus. I'm trying to bring something back to our people to where we can have something. That's why I'm not afraid to talk about donation and offerings. People gave money to those figures that they know they didn't have the skills to do that. I don't want to take our people from nothing. I want something and build as I built before, and people use their tax dollars that they give away to build infrastructures. Something that can be here and that can give value to, give value to know the dominion of God over all creation and his conditional love for us. All things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made. 1 John 1 and 3. I don't want to stay in this context too much. I just want to, give a little prefix of it. I'll give you a little intro of the faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence for things not seen. That's what Hebrews 11:1 says. So faith is the means by which we understand the worlds were framed by the word of God. Because if it's a creation, it got to be a creator. Yep, okay. So we don't care what we call it. We ain't talking about no sky god or something. We know if we can't understand fire, earth, air, river, we don't have nothing to talk about. So that the things which are seen were not made of things which are visible. Hebrews 1, 2, and 3. By faith, we attain the knowledge of the mystery of God. Both the Father and of Christ, both the Father and of Christ, in whom are hidden all the treasures of wisdom and knowledge. Colossians 2, 2, and 3. There is only one faith, given only once to the faithful. When I talk about we under the triple rose, we have an understanding. One Lord, one faith, one baptism, Ephesians 4 and 5. It was once for all delivered to the saints, Jude and 3. I ask anybody, no matter what religion you study, do you understand that there was 16 crucified saviors before Jesus Christ? Yep, okay then. So then what am I just saying? If it was 16 crucified saviors before Jesus Christ, what am I saying? You know, I don't want to stay too far in all this, but hey, as we proceed, just like when I showed you the other day how the theft of African prophecy by the Catholic Church. I'm showing you everything in African history. Just like when I share with my muftis, John Henry Clark, videos of telling brothers and sisters. I said, look at the lectures. I share the stuff on my Facebook page and my TikTok page. I be like, look at the stuff. I share, look at it. I'm not saying nothing different. I teach scholarship. I went to academia for this. I'm bringing something back. And I'm telling, and not only that, I have a business degree. I show people that we got to understand that we tax exempt for the federal government. We got to understand that we doing ministry. Brothers and sisters got to understand and trust what I'm saying. And I give everybody a tax exempt receipt. Why? Because we giving our money to Uncle Sam. And you don't have to donate all your money you're giving to Uncle Sam. You can just donate a portion and see if I'm telling you big facts. Then you'll be like, man, I can give more. Why? Because we can have what she's saying way faster. I'm from the city of Flint. There's so many churches that's left. Damn near half a city of Flint left. So our first temple, we preparing to buy in Flint, and then the next one in St. Louis, where my other mufti at. This stuff be a couple $100,000. Just like I showed the number, I showed people $100 a month for a whole year is $360,000. Everybody get a tax exempt receipt. One of my homies was like, man, that ain't nothing but $1,200 in a year. And he was like, out of 300 people, that's 360 grand. I said, yeah. And I said, just imagine we continue to do that and the work we can do in our communities. Just imagine. We don't hurt nobody. The library, I can bring the skills center, the think tanks, how we can buy property under our and have our religious community. All those things, we can have our community back with no problem. All the brothers that got skills. I mean, there's no reason to complain. That's why I said I'm not going to give up my culture. I didn't go to academia to say, okay, the scheme of how to get rich and be some mega preacher. Could I have done that? Absolutely. I could have done those things. I mean, but I love to do this. It's other things that I'm great at. And I got a business degree. Hell, if my dad jumped on here, he was like, man, shit, I could have been on Wall Street. Everything I was doing, I could have packaged up something and sold it to my people, just like all the rest of the mega preachers did. Why? Because I have the skills and the business savvy, and I know how to convince. That's what I'm telling people. But I can't do that. Why? Because that's not my mission. And if I tell people I'm great at a lot of things, I'm great at this. The only thing, if people say, if you could do anything in life, what would you do? I'll say I'll do this again, but only better. Same way John Henry Clark said, I'll be doing what I'm doing now, but only better. Because I would have figured out how to attack it the right way, how I figure it out now. I would have stayed in my realm and just continue to add on, like as my scholars and teachers, and say, hey, and been telling people to use our finances the same way they did back in the day. The same way the Nation of Islam did, the same way the churches do now. The same way how they operating on tithes and offers and they get a tax exempt receipt. The same way we should. Some don't, but that's the way we can do things. We don't got to be talking about some old stuff. We have our own place to learn. But the Sibyls, the first prophetess of Mami Wata, I showed people this the other day. I don't want to stay into it. Now, I done stayed all in our culture, showed you all different aspects. And even in this aspect, they talk about Moors. They show you how it's Moorish history. So when people be talking that stuff, I said, dude, I don't what's our problem? Why we got a problem with Moorish history? We're like, what's the problem? Even I can show you other scholars. One of the on my video, and then one of my muftis can where I'm gonna share the videos before I leave, pictures for y'all can look at them and download them. One brother lectured all over London, a professor, an older gentleman, all of Moorish history. Some of the elders were like, man, we just hope it in your day it latch on. They be like, nobody speak like you. Be like, cause you an educator and a teacher. I say, yes, it gotta pick up. These people teach in Harvard and Oxford and Cambridge. And that's what I tell people. I don't want to be pulled and go there and be done. I say we can do it with our own dollars. We can build our own institution. That's what I'm telling people. How we can have our own ancient library. Why? Because I got one. That's why when people say how we gonna have an ancient library, man? Because I got one. We can print and all our stuff. Our database can be so full of books that the kids can come to there, come on our libraries and download everything, pull up everything. Have physical books, have laptops, computer, all in our neighborhood. Because ain't nobody coming to the community to save us. But me. But me. I'm telling y'all, man, I know we can do this. It ain't going to hurt nobody. We need to know our culture and our history. To be like, wait a minute. Because I spoke about this the other day that I want to stay in it. Because I spoke on it, I want to proceed. As I continue to teach, because I said I'm going to show books to show you it's a lot that we don't know. Here it is. We have Islam for Dummies. Now, in this little book, it's like you got computers for dummies. You got all this stuff for dummies. All I tell my brothers and my family, I love everybody. But I just don't want me to get to a place and I ask my family they all can help. And I don't want people to look at me like, oh, he don't need to help. I said, we don't have nothing. If something happened to somebody right now today, who's going to do the eulogy? I mean, I tell people right now, we have family. We giving our money away to Uncle Sam. We can do this. That's why I love my brothers and sisters that understand, that's rocking with me. I'm like, y'all, I teach this to others. How you think the Catholic Church is big? People will say, well, they got no donations and grants. No, man, they operate off tithes and offerings. And they tax exempt for the federal government. That's why they don't want to give all their money to Uncle Sam. That's why all rich people have nonprofits. Trump, all his family have nonprofits and they sit on the board. And when I tell people we tax exempt from the federal government, religious, charitable, scientific, educational wise, it fall on deaf ears to my brothers and sisters. Brothers think they're giving something away and not giving something to me. And I said, no, if you supporting a cause, then all causes need finances if it's doing a righteous thing. Now, when you ask your tax preparer or anybody at tax law, they're going to be like, this, yeah. They'll be like, you giving away to Uncle Sam. And then I tell people, depending on the state you live in, like I have a few people that live in California. I have one of my professors that PhD like 4 times over. He teach at a university in Cali. And he was like, well, he's going to allow me to come out there and speak, and see can I get other, college professors and maybe some pro players I can talk to. But he was like, well, yeah, because in the state of California, you can give 60% of your earned income to your religious and charitable science organization of your choice. So he said, just imagine if all your people and people that you know that's making 6 figures understood that. But just imagine if everybody did that, because everybody got to pay Uncle Sam at the end of the year. He was like, you can give them a tax and receipt, and y'all can have infrastructure right then. He was like, white people complaining, but they have no idea. But I have the confidence that it's going to happen, because I'm working with a whole group of other people. And when people be saying, oh, no disrespect, well, when they say, well, he sold out, and I say, how can a person sell out? Just like when people have investors. Well, then they say, well, this is not a business. This is a business. Yes, this is a business. When you're dealing with any type of money, it is a business. And if we're going to say it's a business, it's God's business. Because I can show you how to deal with finances. And if I say it's God's business and we need an education and a structure to teach spirituality, something that can go with our kids as they go into academia, as they go into public school, and when they get out in the summer and the weekends and have classes to go with that, we need that. And how can we have it with the money that we're giving to Uncle Sam? Because we all got jobs. That's how. That's how. Ain't no other way. And nobody life change. Nobody life change. Nobody life change. Everybody life stay the same. Why? Especially those that's working. Because if you working $100 a month, your tax preparer gonna tell you, shit, that you only get, that's only $1,200. Really, that ain't hitting you. That ain't gonna really be nothing if you making a nice chunk of change. You gonna still owe Uncle Sam. Ask your tax preparer and see if I'm telling you anything falseness. And then as we set up subordinate temples in each area, it's just like when people go to churches, and I said, the church is the people. The church tax exempt. And so you want to do something in the church and you don't get to use the church tax exempt status when you buying things or doing nothing. So you got to pay for taxes on everything. So you don't take advantage of the church tax exempt status when you go buy groceries and all that. Your pastor's not a leader and the business head. So when y'all go lease cars or whatever, y'all don't have a deal at the car dealership where y'all don't pay taxes. And so when y'all put all the money together on y'all traveling van for y'all temple, everything is tax exempt for the federal government. Everybody that's part of ministry, anything for ministry, clothing, furniture, and everything is a write-off. See, this is how we operate. And I say, this is what I have to offer. And it's so much more. But let's proceed. So now, even in this little Islam for Dummies, when I tell people they don't know, it's a whole section about Noble Drew Ali. It's a whole section on page 248 on Islam for Dummies. Just like you got computers for dummies, it's Islam for Dummies. I don't want to stay too far in it. I'm just showing you how things was talked about all in history. We have a good culture. It's just disheartening when we see people afraid of our history, and it's the miseducation of the Negro, and we don't support it. It's just sad. And I tell my people, I said, I have a master's degree in what I'm talking about. Not saying that I'm better than anyone, but I have a master's degree from Grand Canyon University in first century history and religion and linguistics. I have an undergrad in business management with a minor in marketing and sales and nonprofit business startup. I've run real companies right now with my own couple of dollars to show you, and I've been having them for years to show you that I know how to budget dollars to keep institution running, especially with the logistics and all these things to make it manufacturing. You can see off the top, because you know it costs to have all these things and to ship these things out. You can know off the top just by seeing that operation that, okay, we see what this brother's doing and everything I'm doing is already multi-billion-dollar things. I just need the people to support. Because most people go on Amazon and buy books. Jeff Bezos rich. I have a whole platform, mypdfbooks.com, that's books with a Z, where I converted a whole bunch of expensive and rare books to PDF, and I offer them for a fraction of the price. We also have a company called bindedbooks.com where we print and bind expensive and rare books. But as I try to build my community with my people, with my database, I want people to hit me up personally, and so anytime you can deal with me, you can deal with me personally, so my life be business. That, and I ask brothers and sisters, let's do something consistent, because I know I'm not asking much. I know I'm not asking much, and I know we got it. I just wish family would be consistent, and the ones that I know that may act like, oh, that's not needed. I'm telling you, I know what we can do. 300 people giving $100 a month, that's $360,000 a year. So imagine we continue to doing that each year, and we got other people going on, because I already got some things going on as well with my brothers and other donors. Right then, I'll buy a facility. I'll show everybody, I'll say, we got 10 buildings. I'll narrow them down to 3. I already done it. Boom. You all be like, damn, this one good. How much is that building sheet in Flint? Oh, that big ass building with all them classrooms, that big old parking lot, all that. I say the starting action point, they asking 250, but we gonna get them down to about like 150. Why? Because we coming with cash. If not, it's gonna sit. Why? Because those are specialty buildings, and ain't nobody gonna get those. They will sit. And if anybody saw my lives on Facebook as I go through the city and show people this, everybody know what I'm talking about. Because in the city of Flint, most of the people left. It's only about 70,000 people in the city of Flint. So you got a whole bunch of houses and property that's sitting. We have to come back in our community and take it over. That's the Great Migration. A group of people from the city that's getting up in age. We in our 50s going on, and elders. We don't have nothing. We can have something. We don't gotta be dealing with these old preachers and know we don't really support them, but and don't be proud to say, no, I deal with my cousin, or I deal with my brother, or I deal with my uncle, or I deal with my friend, or I'll be like, man, I deal with Kareem. Like, why? Because we building a temple. We can. We had classes on Saturday and Sunday. If don't nobody go to church, we can log on here, and I can give everybody, my family and friends, the taxes and receipt. That's all you should want. I'm telling you, because don't nobody have no say so what these churches be doing with the money. These pastors done refinance a church 13 times, or you don't have no say so of what's going on, or the movement or the body of church and it's dead or what's being taught, and we have a generation of the same old thing, what, nothing? That's not what we teach here. Just like, I don't know a lot of people ever heard of Howard Thurman. You know, research Howard Thurman. He was a mystic, a philosopher, theologian. Dr. Thurman authored more than 20 books, including Meditations of the Heart, The Inward Journey, Jesus and the Disherited, The Centering Moment, The Creative Encounter, The Search for Common Ground, and With a Head and Heart, his autobiography. And I mean, at the time of his death, Howard Thurman was Dean Emeritus of Marsh Chapel, Boston University, Chairman of Board of Trustee of the Howard Thurman Educational Trust in San Francisco. He also served as Dean of Rankin Chapel, Howard University, Washington, D.C., as professor at Howard University School of Religion, and as Director of Religion, Life at Morehouse and Spelman College, Atlanta, founder of the Church for the Fellowship of All Peoples in San Francisco, the first interracial, interdenominational church in the United States. He was honorary canon of the Cathedral of St. John the Divine, New York. Poet, mystic, philosopher, theologian, Dr. Thurman authored more than 20 books. And like a lot of the elders deal with, they say, you damn near here, like you still here. And you don't author that much. Like my autobiography is finna come out. I'm getting ready to come out with a whole book about Moorish history, from scholarship, from peer-reviewed scholarly research, a document. And I don't want to talk about fake stuff, but when everybody bought that video, what it said, what is it called? Oh, man. What was the name of it with the documentary? And he talked about some Africa was named after a European. What's the name of that? Hidden Colors. I say all proper Negro propaganda. And Negroes bought that, and them people made millions off of it. And my professor knew, they would hit me up. They say, have you seen this? And I said, that's propaganda. Africa wasn't named after no European, but Negroes bought it. And didn't they? Negroes went and bought it. And the people made millions off of it. And we got a real scholar and an educator right here. Nobody can come in my face and say that stuff to me. That's easily destroyed. But my people are lost due to a lack of knowledge because they choose to learn. We get caught up like, hear what they said from no history. And every Negro was on it. It's just like from Hebrews to Negroes when that was out. And Kyrie Irving was talking about what? He the Hebrew, talking all that jive turkey stuff. And then what? All of a sudden, abracadabra, when he go to Dallas, now he a practicing damn Muslim. And he doing Ramadan and all that. Thought your ass was just a Hebrew Israelite not too long ago. Negro done switched that fast. That's why I be saying, Negroes be listening to these goofy ass entertainers that have you all messed up. And y'all know I'm telling the truth. Europeans educated in teachers, not no damn celebrities or no basketball players. It's the ones like myself that have the background for doing it, for putting their dollars to things, for seeing the history of them going through the fire in all religion. You can Google me on YouTube, Pastor Khari Goodman, Minister Khari Goodman, and see my background. And most platforms, the recent ones, when I moved to Arizona, I ain't know no one. I rented a charter school, had my own building. In the city of Flint, I ministered just like this at Mount Olive and St. Paul. I used to tell them, old preachers, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to teach the truth. And now it's time. It's time for me to resort back and save my people. Because I can tell you history, all through history, when our kids go to school, when they look up this book right here, Indigenous People Law and Policy, you're going to see Europeans on this stuff. But that's because the picture don't mean nothing. I'm going to teach you why you need to know your history. I'm going to teach you in academia, when you see on these books, you be like, well, why all these Europeans on here? And you see the path to the indigenous nation sovereignty. And you see how certain things happen if you don't understand who you are. And stop being a paper terrorist. That's a whole nother conversation as well. You know? But I'm going to talk about some things because this is the science that we need to talk about. Watch this. I'm going to break some science down. When I say you have to be free, this is the science that we need. We've been hustled by our own people, and everybody know I'm telling the truth. See, when people come on that Ponzi scheme and that pyramid scheme, talk about, oh, buy my book, I can show you how to make money. I can show you how to sit on your ass, excuse my candor, and make money. I guarantee you, anybody that bought them type of books, you the same. If you got Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I'm not saying it ain't a great read, but I'm saying that it don't work like that. Because I know people that sell rocks and make money. I know people that hustle and don't make no money. So it have to do with a whole bunch of other variables. But what I'm saying, can't nobody write no book, and ain't nobody wrote no book to show you how to make the money they had. No real rich person gonna teach no classes to show you how to make their money. The only Negroes do that, and that's Ponzi schemes, pyramid schemes, and fake ass AI on the internet. You can't build nobody credit and give them credit. This is what I be trying to tell people. I know pyramid schemes and Ponzi schemes, and that's what that crap be. And I don't care how nobody be feeling about what I'm saying. So, and if we waste our money on that, what's the purpose? Because they know what Negroes think. Oh, money can buy them who they are, and it can't. Money ain't nothing. So watch this. I got a little bit more time. If you with me, man, talk to me. I need to get a little bit of libations. Are y'all with me? Are y'all with me? Talk back. I got people on here. People follow me and don't say nothing. Don't hit me up. I'm real. Hit me up, man. People come to church, and I asked the brother, come to class, and church is gathering other people. I asked the brother, if I have my physical temple, would you donate $100 a month? He like, yeah. And so his homie was like, well, why you don't do it now? Trying to tell him something. And he like, well, I know she too, and he donate. And he was like, well, why you don't help the brother now? He was like, Negroes just be talking, Sheik. And I'm like, I know. And we all work. And we all work. And I know my heart pure. If I give away more to what come in. But we are extraterrestrials. And what I mean by that, I don't want you to get spooked by that. I ain't talking about no TV stuff, no alien or no extraterrestrial, no green stupid ass monster floating around. The extraterrestrial, when I use etymology, in order to break down its proper meaning, the extra means that you have something more than something or someone. And terrestrial is one who is inhabited of where they geographically live. And we are presently where? On Earth. Therefore, an extraterrestrial would be one who lives somewhere obtaining extra abilities or knowledge and wisdom that is superior than most people that are in a geographical area. See, this is the power that the kids say. How I know? Because when I go to the prisons and when I talk to these kids that come from different backgrounds, they like, well, why do people not support it? I'm like, I don't know. But we're going to get there. That's why I said I know we can get there, because anytime it's war, it's time to build. And in my city of Flint, it's time to build. I'm telling you, we can have what we need and use the internet to build it. People can come. We can have our infrastructure. You know? But we are the extraterrestrials. You have some extra. I don't care how nobody feel. No matter what happened to you, I'm telling you to use your skills. Use that special type of melanin that give you that color complexion. Use that melanin that's produced in the pineal gland, which is referred to as what? The third eye. When you talk about the third eye, you don't even know how to use it. Yeah, you might produce it, but you don't know how to use it. Once the sun touches this substance, it responds back to us in a way that forces the sun to give us energy and keeps every cell in our body in a cosmic rhythm of 360 degrees of communication with other planets and things in nature. This is what I try to break down to my brothers and sisters. Say, man, I don't want to hear that slave gospel. I can give you power. And when two or more gather, that's power. And then when we understand our economics and civics and understand what we can do with our dollars, that's tax exempt for the federal government, and we can build our structure, and I can give our people a tax exempt receipt, we can take over something in our neighborhood that's just sitting. This is what makes us phototropic. This is the type of people we are, because we convert sunlight into energy. Most people that live in the north, especially in Flint, Michigan, they vitamin D deficient. Ask their doctor. It's people that's heterotrophic. That means that they can't convert sunlight into energy due to a certain type of melanin that they need. I'm sorry. It ain't no disrespect. This is just what it is. Just like when I talk to my Nation of Islam brothers, I'll be like, well, what you mean, Yaqub? What, Jacob? What the Quran talk about? Or you talk about something Father Muhammad made up, some spookism? I ain't dealing with that. We are all spiritual beings with elements that are pre-encoded in your DNA. You know? And so I speak about these things with boldness, with passion. Even when I talk about the metaphysics of religion, you know? When you use etymology to break down, to interpret and understand the existence. In religion means something that has been or to do again. And religion is a cultural system and a way of living under belief and morals play under something created by man. So what is religion? Religion is something that has been copied from or has been done in a system in the past and is used as a way of culture under someone else or under another system to try to mirror that what is copied. And anything that has been copied is not the original. It is only a what? Reintroduction under someone else's system. Religion is not only a divisive mechanism among the people, but the people who participate in it are one-minded due to what their structure and their scripture says. When you read the Bible, it takes you away from being able to seek other knowledge because it's the God of the Bible who says, seek me only. This is a God that gives a character by name of Moses, 10 Commandments. But we know, hell, in the Jewish manuals, it's 613 mitzvahs. It's 42 negative confessions. Thou shalt not kill, murder, all that. We know. But it's a lot of more, when people be saying, I'll be like, well, it's a lot of more Christians in jail for what they act like they believe in. You know? That's what I be tripping on. You're like, well, wait a minute. I don't be getting what people be saying. When I talk about frequency and energy, when I talk about constellation, that's all in the Bible because in that context, God's supposed to create the heavens and the earth. We're going to jump around. We're going to go here. Watch this. When I talk about energy, every thought and everything in the carbon and copper, and this equals up to energy because everything is energy. There is no God but that which distributes all life, which is cosmic rhythm of the solar system. Your Bible talks about this. Every star is a soul waiting to be manifested in a 3-dimension vehicle, meaning what? Your body. Most holy place, quarter roundabout. Like water, it takes on its higher and lower self. It exists no matter what, whether hot or cold. It either freezes or evaporates. Whether it freezes or evaporates, what happens? It still exists. It can never cease to exist, no matter the form. This plane or life that we live is only an illusion. It really don't exist. It only exists because you are and we are contracted to something that is part of which is our body. You know? That's like that male and female. When I talk about the Baphomet, it's both in there. Temp Hope's Abba written Kabbalistically. We are in a vibrational form of the universal substance. The suns today are newborn. Even the binary sun have been resting. So much stuff, what I'm talking about when I talk about it in science, is still biblical history. Melanin makes up everything. NASA used a synthetic form of melanin to cover up the entire undercovering of the space shuttles when entering higher facilities of the heavens of the universe. Melanin absorbs the heat and dissipates it. You know? Understand this. Understand this. I want to give you all a little something. Watch this. In this context, because there's many contexts of the 12 disciples. In your Bible, right in the beginning, you see that map, the continent of Africa, you're going to look around there, you're going to see the 12, the so-called disciples. What am I saying? You're looking at it, you should understand what I'm saying. So watch this. I'm going to break it down in this context. The 12 disciples equals the 12 constellations and the sun. If anybody don't understand that, they got to be crazy in their mind. That's why they want you to, that's why they try to say the Bible shuns away from it, but the Bible talks about what I'm saying. In Christianity, Jesus is considered to be the Son of God. So you take the Son and replace it with the S-U-N. And in that picture you see with the disciples, you can see the Son of God surrounded by what? So-called 12 disciples, which is what? The 12 zodiacs. The Son is followed by what? The 12 disciples. As also the Son is followed by what? The so-called 12 zodiacs. The disciples in the picture are what? Divided by 4 groups of 3. Each group represents what? The seasons or the elements, which is air, water, fire, earth. Ask any of them. Ask your dad, that's a Freemason. Oh, no, he probably tell you who you talking to because he ain't going to tell you nothing. But remember that there is a difference between modern history and ancient history. Modern history is more of a religion made up by European, Albion, Anglo-Saxons. No disrespect. It's an illusion. And ancient history is what you see when you look up at the sun. No disrespect. Just as your brain sends messages to your body to operate in a certain body part, well, the food that you eat sends messages to different organs and cells. And the information that is transferred by your food is negative, such as it being processed and genetically modified. And these are negative frequencies. That's why when people be like, Sheik, why you be on 10? I eat the same thing every morning, and certain things I do. I drink my water. It's just certain things I do. I'm not saying I don't eat. I do. But I work out every single day. I get my miles in every single day, no matter where I'm at. I'm getting in. I don't give a damn what's going on. Ask anybody that know me. Ask my empress. I don't give a, if we in goddamn Hawaii, if we in Vegas, we getting it in. And if my Mufti's with me, that's just part of our life. So when I do things, people be like, oh, he's trying to do this. No, this part of my life. And if you know me, you know this. You know I'm going to meditate every day. You know I'm going to get up a certain time every day. You know this is what I do. Why? Because this is what we supposed to do. You know, but we everything. You know, our eyes hear whatever it sees. You know, our eyes see whatever it sees. You know, as I tell people that we the holy books, and the whole Bible is a book of science. When I break down, that's a little tittle of Genesis. Don't Genesis begins in darkness? The darkness represents the dark matter which makes up heaven and the earth, the body and the soul. And it's here. It's created in what? 7 days, meaning 7 systems of the earth, the body, the 7 chakras. The word Genesis, if you take away the SIS, become what? Gene, parentheses, SIS. A gene is a part of what? Your DNA. That is used to identify a particular characteristic of someone or something. And in Genesis, one of the systems is what? Jacob, which is the hip, the lower self. That is why when man wrestles with Jacob, he lost the fight. He touched the hip. Genesis 32 and 25. Y'all know the story. Jacob wins this fight with this man, which means he elevated from the hip, the lower self, into his higher self, a.k.a. the pineal, a.k.a. the third eye. In Genesis 32 and 30, it says, so Jacob called the place Peniel, doesn't it? Saying, I saw the face of God, meaning the third eye. It opened. And in the Bible, so-called Lucifer, isn't it known as what? The light bringer and the bright and morning star in Isaiah 14, 12 and 14, in which the morning star rises at his what? Highest horizon at 3 a.m. So a lot of times with my Mufti, they be like, damn, Sheik, you sending all these books at night. I be up at that time doing what I do. Meaning the melanin, the Christ energy, is being produced and rising on the third day, aka the third eye, aka the pineal gland. In your biblical scripture, Christ is also referred to as the star in the east, aka my empress is that where the wife is the eastern star. That's the female counterpart to the Masonic order. Read Matthew chapter 2 and 2. Meaning the light bringer, Christ, and Satan is one and the same. The sun rises, the higher self, and Satan or Set is the sun that sets, meaning going down to Set, aka the lower self. Also Christ or the Christos is the melanin, and Satan per se is the mark of the so-called beast, the third eye of the pineal gland, which also produces the melanin, which is the so-called 666. In this context, the 6 protons, the 6 electrons, and the 6 neutrons. In this context, this is the power of us, which we reject, and the churches reject. No disrespect. I teach our culture, our history. I'm giving you power. See, you think other nationalities be in religion because they like you. No, the other man used this for power. I don't care what nobody say. You sit down with me and them, they be like, yes. They're like, that's why you the teacher. That's why you Melchizedek. That's why you El Elyon. I'm trying to tell you. We rejected ourselves and we fight with our soul within us, which places us on a low frequency. See, brothers and sisters, when you operate on a 33 degree of frequency, you dead. When I tell my Masonic brothers, stop lying to people. When you 32 and 33 degrees, that's in meteorology when water freeze. That's snowman wisdom, and you know it and I know it. That's death. Remember in the Bible, watch this. I'm finna break down some science. I hope your ears, Empress, they open.
They open.
You gonna hear what I'm about to say?
I'm listening.
Now check this out. Fact check me. All my brothers and sisters, fact check me and tell me if I'm lying. In the Bible, how old did Christ die? At 33, right? Yep, okay. So in Freemasonry, you are told that the highest degree of science is what? 33 degrees. When it ain't true. I told you, I'm 33 times 3. Ancient writer Memphis and Mizraim. I'm a spirit builder. I'm telling you what I know. Water freezes at what? 32 degrees. Meaning that those sciences are not as full capacity of being able to do what? Master a damn poo diddly. It can't master nature of self. The masonry that is practiced today is Boy Scout. I don't even call it Boy Scout. I'm calling it Tiger Cubs. It's not nothing compared to the Eastern system of Freemasonry, where it all started. Why you think Muslim brothers and sisters face the East to pray? Because you worshiping the black woman, who is the Eastern Star, and is also as the black stone that you kiss in Mecca, where you go every year. And kissing the black stone is a form of honoring the black womb. Watch this. The black woman is the master mason who gave birth to its 720 degrees, 720. 7 plus 2 equals 9. Because you know what? 0 is nothing but a placeholder. Y'all know this, meaning the 9 ether realms of science. And we are the 9 ethers that is formed with the 9-month gestation of birth from universe, the black womb. See? Every religious book and system is based upon the people of the sun, which is the melanated beings that is known in the third dimension or the earth as the misnomer black people, the AKA human beings. I'm telling y'all, the sun, when you are looking at it from the place in which we are, you're only looking at the illusion that we wrapped in. We wrapped in this illusionary body, but the soul within that sun is part that helps you inherit and interface with all of the missions of the universe. Watch this piece of wisdom that I give you. And the galactic black cinder holes, that is what I'm speaking of, is none other than the melanin that is within the dimensions of the pineal gland, which is the third eye, which represents the rising of the Christos, or the Christ. That's what I'm saying, that the Christ rose on what? The third day. That's a metaphor. Y'all know what a metaphor is. Research what I'm saying. It's a metaphor. The melanin rising within the third eye, the Christos, the Christ, and within your brain, you have 12 systems that follow or reflect the 12 astrological zodiac signs. So when Negroes give our signs and symbols, when you hear these sheiks, they be talking about this some white man stuff, but this still, no, it's not. This ain't my science. I ain't trying to take it and come up. No, I'm telling you, it's our science. You just don't know how to use your compass and square. So just say it. You know, the 12 systems are the representation of the 12 disciples. And this is the metaphysics of what I'm talking about. There was no such thing as a Christ figure. These philosophies and those philosophers, just like when I talk about the New Testament, when I talk about Flavius Josephus and the Pisos family, then you will calm down a little bit. Who wrote a lot of the New Testament, added themselves. All they did was take everything in nature and made them people. You see, whether you believe in a so-called white Jesus or a so-called whatever you come up with, and somebody that we have never seen, but you got millions and millions of misnumbered black people who died in so-called Holocaust, that were hung from trees and all that stuff, and worship one European, one white man, no disrespect, who hung from a so-called cross, whom you never seen before. To me, it's foolish. To me, it's foolish. And I understand that your ancestors gave you the remedy to heal yourself. But no disrespect, the colonizer tells you not to go to commit. And that's where they asses went. You say Jesus heals. Well, why is that the majority of the world with diabetes, cancer, and all of these other ailments are religious people? And you even got it in your Bible where it says, do not eat the swine. But many of these so-called Christians, they eat a goddamn pork chop sandwich like it's going out of style and trying to tell me something. Well, the Bible said this. Man, y'all have to eat a shit sandwich, excuse my candor, all day, and chitlins. And you would eat some chitlins. So don't sit up here and tell me what the Bible say. Christmas that comes, you would put up the Christmas tree. Read Jeremiah chapter 10 and read it all for me. And the Bible says you don't get no Christmas tree, cut it down and put the silver on it, following the fool, following Saint Nick, following the Nicolaitans. Your Bible tell you that. That's you. Your Bible tell you that, not to follow the Nicolaitans, not to follow Saint Nick, not to get no Christmas tree and cut it down and tighten it up and believe in it. That's your Bible. And everybody say they believe in the Bible and Jesus. Well, tell me what Jeremiah chapter 10 say. And then ask me, do you get a Christmas tree right now? And then you will say, well, it don't matter. Okay. You can say whatever. Then anybody, when you try to come with it's an abomination, when a person have a sexual preference, they can tell you to shut the hell up. Because I would too. You try to say, well, no, I believe in this, but I believe in this. What the Bible say with your pagan beliefs that not to get no Christmas tree and not to cut it down and not to decorate it in gold and put gifts under it. Follow the Nicolaitans, following Saint Nick. Your Bible tell you that. But they do it anyway. This is what they say. Well, we're not going to deprive the kids from our tradition. That ain't your tradition. That's Yule. And then they justify it by saying you can pray over it. Other than the other BS. But I can guarantee you that if I put rat poison into your food, you can pray over it all day. Man, I guarantee you, your ass gonna die. Excuse my candor. I don't care how many times you pray over some slop. Well, let's pray over it to be good. Oh, so you gonna pray, you gonna go to McDonald's and for 3 months straight, go get you a triple burger, all them greasy ass fries, that fake milkshake that come out of that dirty stuff, and you don't think you're gonna be healthy, but talk about, well, I just pray over it, and God go, your ass gonna die. This is a fact. And I say we can't be that unconscious. All the praying that we do, we should not be in the condition that we are in. If we can just pray, well, just pray about, well, let me just pray about it. I can't just pray nobody the fool off a Negro. Oh, this is a fool, and we gonna say we just gonna pray off of it. No. The melanin is the key. And when I tell people, once we know this, we off balance. In this context, throughout the books of religion. Okay, what do you mean, Sheik? Watch this. In Isaiah, don't it states, I will give you the treasures of what? Darkness. Isaiah 45:3. Genesis in the Bible begins where? In darkness. The darkness represents the dark matter, the melanin, which makes up heaven and earth. Which is heaven and earth. What's heaven and earth? The body and your soul. That's the heaven and earth. Light comes out of darkness, meaning light represents Christ, and darkness represents the so-called Satan, which is your higher and lower self. Lucifer in the Bible is known as what? The light bringer and the bright morning star. Isaiah 14:12 and 14. So what is this saying? In which the morning star, what does it do? Rises at its highest horizon at 3 a.m., meaning the what? The melanin, the Christ energy is being produced and rising on the third day, the third eye, the pineal gland. Christ is also referred in the Bible as the star in the east. Read Matthew 2:2. See, this is what a God man does. This is what I'm telling you, I'm interpreting the word. I ain't breaking down no religion. Meaning the female and the male is one and the same. And they get you with spooky stuff. The Baphomet is the devil. No, it ain't. It's written Kabbalistically. That's Gnostic scripture. I'm telling you. That's why I tell people, I don't, and I just know how science, it can corrupt. Absolutely. I just know that. I just know it's just like certain other figures in history. When I show people, I say people will lose confidence in what people be saying if they don't see it's real, because it's nothing new. I be telling people. I try to, like, for me, it's like I had a lot of people that deal with me and they try to go out, and I'm not talking about you, Carlin, or no one. It just things come up and they try to do things, and other people be like, well, where are you getting this from? And they don't anoint where they get it from, because they know people backgrounds and they be knowing certain individuals. They say, well, this should be done in a certain way. I always tell, like, talk to people and ask, individuals in life and get counsel how to operate in life when people want to be under auspices, because what people do, people can be remembered for your actions, and the actions can be what we say. And a lot of times the way things being delivered, when we get a little wisdom, we want to go out and prove to the world what we know. And that's not the way to do these things. I always try to tell, this is like a person trying to tell me how to get rich and they not rich. I had a dude try to come up to me one day, Carl, and talk about, do I want to buy his dude I went to high school with. And I ain't going to say his name, because there's some people on my Facebook page that know what I'm talking about. Let me see, but I always break things down, Carlin, because this is my life. I don't care how nobody feel. I don't give a damn. Shouldn't have done the bullshit you done. Shouldn't have done it. Shouldn't have done it. That's what I tell people. If you can't talk about yourself and be like, yeah, you was wrong, I don't give a shit. Especially when you're trying to hustle your people, Carlin. So with this one dude I went to high school with, played basketball, he used to do this pyramid scheme shit where he wants you to pay your bills with him. He came to everybody's house. You know what I mean? And my empress will tell you, I went off on him because I knew it was that 5-star whatever bullshit. Excuse my candor. But I knew the same stuff that my man from Pretty Ricky be talking about. The pyramid and Ponzi scheme. But anyway, and so these individuals written books to show you how to sit on your rusty dusty and become rich. And then I ask these people, well, if the person that wrote the book, are they rich? No. Do they have any businesses? No. Well, how can they write a book to tell you how to get rich and they're not rich? And what business have they used to get rich? Or are they trying to just make money off the book because they use Chat GPT? See, I know bullshit, and nobody can be mad at me. I have a real company. You can pull up right now, mypdfbooks.com, and pull up one of my companies, Books with the Z. You can pull up morrishaberdasher.com, morrishaberdasher.com, where we sell Morris regalia, all type of other regalia, real companies. My other mufti got Herbs of Mayat. My other mufti, Alonzo Raibay, got ALO Design Pros. We got bindingbooks.com, where we print and bind expensive and rare books. And in my real everyday life, man, I know European Masons and stuff, they buy fezzes from me. I told y'all, my Al Islam Muslim homies right up the street, you know, they imam be getting all they kufis and they tunics from me. Like, I graduated from Grand Canyon University. I know European Jews, they get a lot of their regalia from me. I show y'all all my talents. You know, I get all my talents, all that stuff. You know, they get them from me. I'm telling y'all, I show this stuff. I show people this stuff. I said I have everything for our culture. And that's why I'll be like, listen, nobody have what we have here. I created something for all of us. No kid should be armed. Black History come and they talking on some slavery stuff, and you have a brother right here that's a teacher and an educator. But let me proceed, because we're going to keep going. But the masonry system that's practiced today is Boy Scout stuff, you know? That's what I tell people, you know, which is truth. It's just truth. Watch this. Let me get to a good part. When I told you about the metaphor, you know? But Genesis is the dark, it represents the dark matter. Okay, I gave you that. Okay, good. I gave you all that. So, the zodiacs is the vibrational energy to melanin. Mercilius is the ancient word for Mercury. Mercury is controlled by the god Tahuti. So when Mercury is retrograde, it's letting us know as melanated beings that we should focus our energy out of the illusion and meditate to control the different shifts that is going on at the time within the universe, which is yourself. See, that's what people get in an extra when I say I'm slow to speak. A lot of things when I tell people, when you see things, my Orisha and my Santeria, it's a lot of things that I'm into that I don't show, you know? You know? It's a lot of things that I don't show, you know? The Ashun and all those things, you know? But I show these things. And that's what I tell people, to share the teachings. I don't care how nobody feel. We can illuminate it because it's going to happen. I got professors and Europeans that support what we're doing and I help. And they know it's going to happen because I know it's going to happen. You know? But the 25th of December is when we, as melanated beings, are at our highest frequency. It represents the 13th zodiac known as Ophiuchus. The Ophiuchus. The Ophiuchus. A lot of my spirit builders, y'all know what I'm talking about. This is the serpent wrapped around the cerebral cortex, wrapped around the spinal rising of the serpent rising in the Kundalini energy, the rising in its crystals. No, hell no. When you bring people to the storehouse, that's how I'm telling you. The same way the Nation of Islam did it, Brother Carlin, because there ain't nothing wrong. You exhume what it is. Don't get me wrong, Carlin, but what we bring people to the storehouse. And that's how we build a nation. We build people to the storehouse. We're disciples. You know what I mean? We're disciples of this. What? We apostles. We bring people to the storehouse. We building something. Of course, brothers can do their things subordinate, but we build the infrastructure. I'm telling you, because I'm still giving a schoolmaster. I haven't even went further yet. And that's why my close companions be like, Sheik just teaching in circles. You know? Any of my close companions, just keeping in circles. It's a lot. I'll be honest, it's a lot that I would give just being around me. Like, we just went to Vegas with my muftis. It's just certain things that I give being around. That's why I tell people that it's just like, yes, it's the studying, but it's also the living too. Like, I'm not getting ready to live 48 years on this earth plane for no reason. I'm not allowed to do a lot of the things that I'm doing for no reason. You know, like I told y'all, I do a lot of things well. I choose to do this. I'm telling you, I do a lot of things well. I choose to do this. I choose it. You know, I choose this type of struggle. You know, but I want people to know this, and I know we can break this down. We can have something. Yeah, absolutely. That's right. But the same Santa Claus at the North Pole, which is the pineal gland, the third eye, he is known for sliding down a chimney. Watch this allegory, which consists of black soot, aka set, which is carbon, which is melanin, which slide down a chimney to deliver what? Presence, which is a symbol of what? Restoration. And when the presence is delivered, watch this. You rise in what? The morning to do what? Receive those presents. Meaning you have to come into an what? An awakening of self. Restoration, the Kundalini. What my homie say? He say, man, here you give gifts, man. People should have no problem doing that. You giving a gift. What he say? He said, I went to college and he was like, we were just talking about all the Gnostic libraries that that the universities have in Europe. And you have all the, I know. I try to tell brothers and sisters this all day. I said, I'm not trying to convert no one. These people get paid swell for this. The Pope does the rituals that we are supposed to do at the time of the year to intercept our energy while we stress over buying materialistic things that they make sure you can't afford. And we keep those bloodsuckers alive by way of our fears and emotion. I tell everybody this all day. The only reason why people don't deal with me right there is a fear and emotion. Because if you trust me, then you know I'm telling the truth. And if you see what I do, you know. And that's the only way you will know it's something real. You know? Melanin is the sun, your health. I tell people a lot of times, like I live in Arizona, and people be working out inside the house. I say, man, you got to go outside and sweat. If you're afraid to go outside and walk and sweat and you live in Arizona, you don't get that natural melanin, you take a shower first and then your body actually activate. I can show people this. Brother Carlin, it's people that I know in Arizona. I live in Arizona. It's people that I know what I do. Know I can get them in shape. They see me out. My wife will tell you, I live a regular life. I can help people. I have real credentials. I can really help people. I have a skill. They saw me working in my profession dealing with autistic kids. I'm licensed and all that. And now I operate doing my own. I work for all these companies where they want to pay you pennies. I said, no, I created some of my own. But when they talk about health and wealth and herbs and concoctions, I know how to make all of it. Somebody hit me up complaining about that one brother. I can't think of his name. But he makes this stuff called Apple of Eve. And then one of the brothers that I deal with, that I'll be making concoctions for him and his family, that I had the pleasure to help, get a lot of parasites out because he got my book. He was like, Sheik, these Negroes can complain, and you got the damn book that Dr. Sebi got everything from, Herbology for Home Study. They said, brother, you got the book that Dr. Sebi talk about the Honduras doctor. They're like, but you got the science and you know it all. And so I don't be disrespecting Dr. Sebi, but I'm telling you, I got the wisdom where they got the wisdom from. These people ain't just fell out of freaking heaven and got some wisdom. That's why I be laughing at people. I said, I respect Dr. Sebi, but the wisdom come from the Herbology for Home Study. And I got it. Just like when the brother make his little concoction, sell it for 150, I ain't got to diss it. And people be like, well, it costs too much this. If it's ingredients, I make it for people. But I do it for other nationalities. That's why I be laughing. And when my European colleagues, they be like, these people know you. You on the internet. How do they don't know what you do? When they be complaining, do this, and you can be people personal supply. You can just ship shit to people. Just like my noble Moso, Herbs of Mayat. When you know things coming from the right place, when it's done with love. With Morris, when I say I done put more fezzes on different nationalities and Masons than brothers that be following me. And then I ask them where you get your fez from, where you get your regalia from, where you get your Morris Quran from. Amazon. Why? You can get all the shit as a PDF from me or an ebook, or we can print it and bind it. But why would we make all these other platforms rich as hell? They're not going to give back. They're not going to buy no institution. Why? Because that's not what they want to do. None of them. We should have saw that from the jump. It ain't their mission. It's my mission. If people research my background, I've been doing this. I moved to Arizona to do this. And I continue to do it with my own dime. With my own dime. When I teach people that we tax exempt for the federal government, we can. Well, not really. It ain't really. Not really. Not what I offer. Because you got to look at it. You let somebody borrow a book and it's gone. You say you borrow a book. Say you get before the Mayflower, not before the Mayflower. What's the book? Any book on Amazon. It costs like $20-some. You can get the damn ebook for me for $5. Now you got it on your tablet. You can travel with it. But then people say, "Oh, I like to read. I like to write in books." Negro, I know they don't read. I know Negroes be lying because the stuff I be talking about, Negro be like, "Oh, I got that book, got the book with a book only 200 pages. You ain't read nothing." Them Negroes be looking at pictures. I know this for a fact because most people don't have the aptitude to read for 30 minutes, but they'll watch Power, BMF for hours. They'll binge watch that shit. You know? And so I said, if you travel like I travel a lot, you ain't taking no books. So you're not studying nothing. So I travel with my tablet. I don't travel with no damn books. Why the hell would I travel? This ain't the 80s. We evolve in technology. So we use technology. You know, I got my tablet with my little pen. I can blow it up. I can turn the page just like a regular book. So when I travel, I got my tablet. I got all my books on there. I got all my books on there. So when people say they visual learners, yeah, it's still visual. It's a tablet. It's no excuse. Just like if they burnt all the books up right now and I got everything converted to PDFs and I can replenish everybody and download everything on your tablet, what excuse would a person have to say they visual learners? But damn it, visual is the eyes. Visual is on the tablet. I'm not talking about you, Carlin, but I'm telling people when they say visual, visual is from the eyes. So what they talking about? Visual. If all the books gone, they say all the books should be digital. Then what? See, just like a lot of expensive books on Amazon, I converted to ebooks. This is what I tell our brothers and sisters. We can't continue to make excuses for dealing with technology. Why? We got cell phones. We on Instagram. We on Facebook. All that. We sitting down on our ass buying from Amazon. That's why I be telling people we make excuses. That's why we don't have shit. And that's why we don't be, "Oh man, I want the book. Oh man, here it is. Sheik offer you a book that costs $500 on Amazon, and he say, well, I'll let you get the ebook for $25. You download it on your tablet, and I give you an extra couple books, and I can give you a tax-exempt receipt because it's part of your offering to your religion. Just what we do, you know." And you be like, "No, I like the book." You a fool. I would call you a fool. Your parents would call you a fool. They'll be like, "Okay, sir." They'll look at me like some parents did. I'm telling you a true story. And they be like, "Well, this brother's an educator and a scholar. He got the book on Amazon cost $500. He said you can get the ebook from him for $25. They say, "Stupid, retardo, fardo. How many pages is the book?" You say, "I just say a high number, 400. Okay, so they're going to double side the book. Yep, it's only going to cost you about $40. So it's going to cost you $90 to get the book printed, and it costs you $500. You're going to save $410. You got to be a fool. And that's how I talk to Negroes. No disrespect. And that's how all my college students, they are buying the book just like this. So if this book costs stacks, so say if this book right here costs a whole bunch of money, they are buying it. You'll get the book binded, save money. And now it's an NFT. What you mean an NFT? Because now you got it binded. You can sell it for the price that you pay for it to somebody else and keep selling it. Why? Because you got the damn PDF or the ebook. That's why I be laughing at my people. That's why I be laughing. I'll be like, we can't win for losing. And because that's what we'll do. We'll make excuses. And Amazon sell ebooks. What you say, Carla? I'm giving 75% to the BBT, the rest to my university, Bethlehem Cook University. Gratitude. And that's what, and see, Carla, and I give honor for you even saying that, putting that out in the atmosphere. Because we on YouTube as well. When things is put out in the atmosphere, it's showing you how easy things can be done. Because Nova Carlin, I ain't tell nobody what percentage to give to the BBT, did I? All I said is, listen, we giving it to Uncle Sam. I say we can revert it to anywhere. You can say, I'm going to give this to this, and this to this, and this to that. You say, well, Sheik, I'm going to give you this percentage. All I'm going to say is Islam. So imagine if I had hundreds and thousands of people just to give the same percentage as Carlin or less on a consistent basis. We'll have it. We'll have it. That's all I'm saying. Consistently. And our people, they don't get it. That's what I've been telling people. We have the right to do this. I teach this. Man, it's classic. That's why they don't want these basketball players and these entertainers to know that, man, you need to be dealing with your religious and charitable contribution of your choice. Yeah, you got a money manager. They paying your taxes, but they might be donated to their religious organization, padding their pockets. When you done, they go to the next basketball player. Then when you done, or they might have so many under them, and they supporting their organizations. Y'all making their organizations rich. You just dribbling the ball. You happy you paying your taxes, but look at their organizations ran off what? Your money. All their infrastructures, all their things is ran off your money. Because you got some, no disrespect, European or Jewish money manager that's paying your taxes. And instead of saying, no, I want this to go to this, I want this to go to this, I want this percentage to go to this, and if you like other things, I give a percentage to this. And that's how we can have our own infrastructure, y'all. For real. Because I could continue to teach this stuff, but it'll fall on deaf ears, and I have to go to where I'm going to be compensated. I went to university for this. And I know what we can do with donations. I got a lot more I can teach, but I'm going to stop right there. I got a lot more I can teach. When I talk about religion has no God, I've lectured this. I'm just going around in a circle. When I decoded Christianity from this perspective, when I talk about the 12 system of the brain, that's how an aspect where is Christianity decoded, because in the human brain are 12 centers of what? Black melanin, which in your Bible you know as what? Disciples. These 12 systems in the brain follows a dominant energy, which is in the horizon, the heaven of the brain, called the pineal gland. Right? Which is the gland that produces and crystallizes or crystallizes the element called melanin, which is carbon. So when you take a look at this system, we can see that it is the way the story of Christ comes into existence. These 12 systems, these 12 disciples follow the carbon that is made up of light, which carries information into the third eye, which is what? The Christ. This is the metaphysical story of the disciples following the Christ. My students have to understand, and true light seekers have to understand, that these so-called philosophers who translated this book took everything in nature and made them physical people. The Son of God is the S-U-N of God. The 12 disciples is the 12 zodiacs that follow the Son. The cross that Christ died on is the cardinal point that has 4 points, which represents the 4 elements of the zodiac, which is water, air, earth, and fire. And these are also the elements that make up the melanin. God is also referred to being a son in Psalms 84 and 11. Research it. So if God is being referred to as the son, then we must stop and analyze this for a second, brothers and sisters. Because this wisdom and the book is claimed to be holy, yet it has translated many times. So how can anything that is holy have to keep translating it over unless it has not been written what it's supposed to be? You know? What you say, Brother Carlin? You said, same here. You said, I got 100K to send, by the way, for my education, being from the projects of Miami, Florida, to an educational man, most, all more. Yep. Why don't Christians do the history of the people who supposedly inspired the book called the Bible that was supposed to be given by God? Yet Christians can't even give a description of what God looked like, or even why he is referred to being he instead of a she. When you hit many of them with these questions, all they got to say is that he is a spirit and he lives in the sky, in heaven somewhere. That is insufficient, because in the Bible, God sleeps, he talks, he walks in the garden. In the Bible, God murders and also create commandments, right? That says that thou shall not kill. Yet in the Bible, I think God murdered a lot of people. Remember? I'm just talking about the Bible. The 12 system of the brain. Y'all know the 12 system of the brain. For all my people in the medical field, it's 12 system of the brain. Starting with the locus coeruleus, ending with the retroambigus. Come on now, we got to know this. So what is God? All scholars communicate on that level. Who is God? They ask the question of what is God? Because you have to go outside of placing God into a jurisdiction. What is God? Which states in your Bible, in Psalm 54 and 4, sustainer of life. This realm is water, earth, air, river. Psalm 54 and 4 says, I can say that what sustains life on this realm is water, earth, air, and fire. The sun has in it everything that you have in yourself. It sustains our emotional wise with spiritual connections. It connects us to who you are with our soul. The water traps life and balances our thoughts, therefore keeping our energy and frequency hydrated. Air, if it was to leave our illusion, would cause us to become a part of the illusion, making us non-existence. And the earth, it keeps us founded and level with the constellations, helping us to balance the rhythm and reaching dimensional destinations. See, many Christians say that the sun worship is satanic, but if the sun was to leave the earth, everything would cease to exist. That's all Christian is. They are unconsciously sun worshiping, which is a great thing, but not in the aspect in which they are worshiping it. What is the day set for all of your energy and money to be directed to a thief in a pulpit on Sunday? If money you are giving to the church is supposed to be given to God, then you must ask what is God's account and routing number. And that's why I don't tell people no fallacy. I said we build our institution. You know? Because that's what we own. The image and likeness of God. In Genesis 1:27, it states that God created woman in his image and after his own likeness. And if I establish that God is everything in the universe, so if God created us in his image and likeness, then we must be in the image of the universe and like the universe. Because the universe is made up of dark matter, melanin, and atoms of consist of electrons, protons, neutrons. And we are made of this very same element, thus making us look like and act like the universe. And now I see why the Creator is characterized as being human in your Bible. You and I are one with the universe, also making the universe a human. And this is a mirror image of two dominant forces being of the same element and acts of law within the same existence. Watch this. When you study that which is under the illusion that we call the flesh, which you are not a part of, that's what the Bible says, not be of the flesh in John 1:13. So even your Christian book tells you that, but in the understanding that it's missing places and it's missing and it's placing you into a carnal mind state, a carnal understanding. It's nothing other than that matrix that we talk about. I want y'all to know this, man. We got to know this. Your soul can't be held. So I'll talk about the woman in another teaching. You know, I'll talk about understanding the woman and the woman is Ma'at. I can go on and on, but I want to stop right there because I got so much history. But I tell my brothers and sisters, today is the day. And my brothers and sisters and my family, we can support with small donations, and I can give everybody a tax-exempt receipt, and we can have our first temple and school in our city of Flint that we own, that we can go to. We can have a big satellite coming down, and everybody, if you're not physically there, you can log on, just like all the other mega churches do. Just like it's a big church out here called CCV. He got big campus. He just come down on a goddamn old screen. I don't know what he'd be doing in his time, but I'm saying we can do this, and we don't have to complain about nothing. And we can do it with the money that we give at Uncle Sam, and I can give everybody a tax-exempt receipt. And I promise you, your life will not change, and you can testify. My dad is one of my biggest supporters. One of my professors is one of my biggest, well, actually, three of my professors is three of my biggest supporters. My muftis are my biggest supporters, but they understand. They like, I hope they understand what you're doing. Like this, how you build your infrastructure. And if people making money and you have no matter how much, you should donate for we can build something. And I guarantee you, I'll be transparent because we need something. And the only thing we own is our temples and our schools and our churches. And when I say school, I don't mean taking our kids from public schools because they need to know how to deal with other nationalities and other cultures and things. I give them something like a 7th hour. I give them something to in the summertime when the kids out in the summer. Then they come to their studies, and the parents can drop them off in the morning and pick them up in around like 4. I know how to feed them kids with the summer feeding program. I know how to get them kids registered for CANUSA. I know how to get kids going to the YMCA. And there's just so much other things that go with what that I'm doing because I've been doing this for other people and for other ministries. And I have a lot to offer, and I have a background dealing with kids and all type of trauma. In my professional life, I have a background in doing that. I work in a facility out here called Youth Development Institution, where kids was in all backgrounds, all type of trauma, all type of things. I work for ADHD. I work for trying to get kids to be adopted, on all levels. And, I pick them up and take them, spend time with them and all that. So I know what it takes, and I know what we can do. But we depending on the government to do everything for us. And I'm like, it's not going to work like that, family. I'm right here. And when we deal with them, we under their auspices. And the laws, the religious laws trump all this, y'all. The religious laws trump it. And I can give everybody a tax return receipt. Just like Moors want to go into a union today, and you will go to the city hall. And I say, why? You don't have to go to no city hall. Our religious laws trump it. I'm telling you. You don't have to do nothing to bring nobody in your third-party contract. Just like a lot of my family, they still have a will. And I say that's litigation. You need a living trust. It's 16 type of trust. I teach this stuff. And people give me hella donations. I got family that I done helped save their lives. They're like, boom, thank you for helping me put this irrevocable or this living trust together and, you know, and doing it the right way. Taking everything out of public, putting it in private so it won't be no litigation. I tell people this. I show people how to do this. We have land. When people talk about, oh, we want to buy some land and build God, we have land right now, 10 acres in Mojave, Arizona. We can build our own homestead. We have land. So what I do is real. And all I ask my family is to support, man. You know, I've written a plethora of books. I'm a real author. I can show people how to set businesses up in real life, the right way on paper. I have a real expertise. I don't have any fake degrees. And I'm telling you, I know what we can do. And if I teach the European, the Albion, the Trailerdyke, or the Anglo-Saxon, whatever name you want to give them, why can't I be your teacher, my brothers and sisters? And I show you we have a rich history. It's one nationality and many cultures. Why can't I be your teacher, especially for my family and friends that follow me and be on my pages? Why don't we support? Why don't we tell family and friends? If something happened to some of us right now, Carlin, especially a lot of my family and friends, who's going to do you a eulogy? Because most of my family and friends, they don't go to churches or nothing like that. So what's going to happen? People will be scrambling, and then Reverend Porkchop will be speaking over you. And then it'll be a blasphemy to me and my position, because people will be like, well, you got a sheik, a shaman, a medicine man. And I done did unions with people from Bosnia. I married doctors and nurses from Bosnia. I done been to the prison and Thumb Correctional Facility lecture to a plethora of people. I done been to colleges and lecturing, and I can't teach my people, and I can't ask my people for donations to help us build our temple and our school. And most of my people that live in Arizona is from Flint, Michigan. You know, we can have our own. And so that's all I be saying is, like, I understand the work it takes from a person in a community with family, because a prophet and an angel is no good in his own community. You must leave your family and friends with your wife and go to a whole country and build people up. And they see that. And then they'll start filling the seats up. And everybody saw this. You can go on Burning Bush on YouTube. When I was dealing in the church aspect, I'm baptizing people because they want me to. I'm doing things for the people. I have my own temple. Man, I had soccer camps with one of my homies named Devin Franklin. You know, that got his next gen sports. I've done so many things when people ask me to do. Been to prisons. You know, I've done eulogies for all different nationalities. Why I'm not the go-to for all my people. Something happened to one of my family members right now today that follow me on YouTube right now, Carlin. And I'm just saying, I ain't talking about nobody. Who gonna do the eulogy? Who's gonna talk to them and give a good word? And then they can look at my portfolio. I done did, and it's not it ain't nothing to brag about, but I've done plethora of eulogies. I've done plethora of unions. I've lectured all in academia. You know, I have brothers under the auspices. I'm 99 degrees. I don't keep nothing secret from nobody. I show you that this science is ours, and I'm an educator and a historian and an author. And you telling me all my brothers in my community can't get all the books I gathered and compiled and support a few or more, get a fez and a turban and support this ministry? Ask how you can help. I thought we want to see something and hold me accountable. I'm telling you, and I know we can do this, y'all. Hold me accountable. And we can do it. And everybody get a tax and receipt. And everybody can start off with $100 a month. And I give everybody a tax and receipt. That's $1,200 a year. But here it is, my noble Carlin said he's giving 75%, which you can. And I give you a tax and receipt. That's what I be telling people. I say, you don't got to come to class all the time. My professor was saying, he was like, but you giving your money away. Don't you want to see this brother do this? And you can be a part of this? And that's all I ask my family. So thank y'all, man, for your time. I've been going for 2 hours. I hope I said something that inspired you, and you inspire me. That's why I keep doing what I'm doing. Thank all of y'all. Thank you for your spirit, Carlin, and your zeal. Continue to do what you're doing, Carlin. Continue to let Allah use you. I'm telling you, use me. It don't matter. Remember with me, when I deal with people's spirits, and so that's how I deal with all my muftis. And when spirits align, you got to use me. It ain't about no money with me, because money comes to me easily. Money is not earned with me; it's given. So when things you need, you always got to keep it in your mind state to have gratitude. And when you get something, a little piece, say I can give a little piece to Sheik. Why? Because Sheik is gifting me. Ask all my muftis; they'll tell you. Every day I give them plethora of books, wisdom, show them things. Why? I don't ask for nothing, because this is what I do in the cipher. And so you keep that zeal and keep making yourself better. And come to the cipher. You ain't stepping over nobody's boundaries. This is a brotherhood. It's like if you were studying martial arts with me. And some people that just come on time and then they'll leave when it's over. But you there before it's time, and to not only be there to open the door, you there after to clean up the dojo with me and go over things and show how to fold up the suits and show how to clean them and show how to other things. You'll get that extra training, that discipline. So I'm all for that. Carlin, and I'm international. I travel all over. You might have connection to say, Sheik, you know what? We done got this little place. I want you to come here and speak. I got these mountain brothers. We got this going in. Don't hold back. This is what I'm telling us. And we hold gifts back and we don't spread it, and we should. We should. This is what I'm telling people. I said, I know. I said, you walk past God because you think they ain't on the same level you is financially. But I'm telling you, what's inside have to match the outside, Brother Carlin. I'm telling you out of my face, if I say I love you, my inside match the outside. I do just the same for you as anybody. And if anybody know me that's connected to me, that been knowing me, what I do, they know this. That's why I'm trying to get my muftis that can to move out here to Arizona where I'm at. Because I know the power of two or more gathering. I'm trying to get my mufti Gregory Masso and Noble Brian to move out here because they don't have families and wives and all that. It's so much that I have in me that I want to spread to my brothers and sisters. And I know once we get this physical temple again, if people just get into the habit, into the idea of donating just a small fraction, and I give them a tax and receipt, all my friends, all my family, they loved ones. If I can just get 100 of my friends and family and share this message, we'll be where we need to be. And nobody's life will change, Carlin. And I know it's a hard work. Because the brothers and sisters that get up and go to a church and dress all up and get all their kids' money to put in the tithe offering. And I said, we can do that right here. Yeah. So that's all I'm saying, man. So I give gratitude for everyone. I give gratitude to my family. Because I know my family love me, Carly, and this where Allah's going to work for you. That's where you're going. Our family love us. Believe that. Because if we come to them and every month, if we ask a certain family for money, they'll give it to us. But I said, I'm not in that predicament. I'm asking my family to support consistently just $100 a month to our movement. Because if you call some family member, we can go out to eat and drink and party, and they'll pay. So if we'll do that, I think it's another way to do some things and make an impact on this world. So what I'm saying, Brother Carlin, continue to do your thing. Continue to learn. And I tell all of us that. Continue to push the envelope to make us ourselves better. Because this is easy to get on the internet. And and through the week, I just use this to talk on topics when I have time. Saturday and Sunday, I want y'all to come to class. But all family ain't blood. All ain't family. That's the truth, Carlin. Listen, I'm going to be honest with everyone on here. My mom and my dad is my biggest supporter, and my empress. And my empress right here, and my muftis. But just starting off as family, and my wife is my family. But I'm saying my mom and my dad. That means so much to me. If anything happened to me today, my mom and dad can say, no, my son was honored to rock with him. He's our teacher, and we support. And my dad, tax preparer, told him, like, you don't support your son? You giving all the money to Uncle Sam? And my dad makes so boom, boom. Like, yes, your son, you got to do this. And what I teach, my mom and my dad is my biggest supporters. And that's what I tell my family. I said, we can do this, Carlin. And so, yes, it gets frustrating. I'm not going to sit up here and lie because I have feelings too. Yes, it's hurt when I see my family and friends buying stuff, T-shirts and bullshit that don't make sense, buying books like they gonna make money off a damn book, How to Get Rich, and when somebody that ain't even rich, don't have no businesses. How somebody gonna teach you how to sit on your ass at home and get rich? It don't happen. So yes, Carlin, those things touch me. I only can talk about myself. And I only can be honest. Yes, it hurt my heart when I see other family members supporting other people and things, and I have it. Yes, it hurt my heart. My brother, peace be among his soul, Akil Jelani Goodman Bay, and I made workout attire, hats, and all that, and none of my family have purchased it, but my mom and my dad, and some of my colleagues, my European colleagues that I dealt with it in college, that bought it, that understand, that came to my brother's funeral, and a lot of my brother classmates, and my brother Akil Jelani Goodman Bay, he was an iota in one of the only black fraternities, and so a lot of his fraternal brothers deal with me. I'm getting ready to go lecture with them brothers, and they buy the workouts and stuff, and a lot of stuff from me, with in memory of my brother. I got polo shirts that stitched in A. Jelani with the logo in memory of my brother. So much stuff, and so hell yeah, brother Carlin, that it hurted my heart, cause I know all the stuff I have is dope. Why? I know all the Morris regalia on our Morris Haberdasher page. I know it's dope. Yeah, no, yeah, I'm being honest, Carlin. I'm just keeping it 100. I'm just being honest. And I share, go on my Facebook page. I share all my books on my Facebook page of my family. Nobody get my books. And it's like I said, I'm not mad. I smile because I'm just happy that all other people that bought my books. I done sold hundreds of books. I done sold hundreds of books. I got a homeboy, my homeboy Julius right now. You go on my Facebook page. I love everybody. His name Julius. He a chapter leader of the Qs in Detroit and Pontiac. And so here it is, you got two. I have family, they don't have none of my books, so they don't understand what I'm talking about. I'm like, I ain't no Al-Islam Muslim. I don't teach I ain't no Freemason. I'm way higher than that. I'm a Sufi, a shaman. And they don't even just support it and to have it, And when we go places, people are like, why don't you bring all this? I don't bring nothing. I'm not a bodega on wheels. I have a real business per se. So you can go on my website and it'll come straight to you. When I travel, I don't travel. Well, I got to have all these shirts. I don't travel like that. I say if you want to deal with things, I have real companies. Everything will come to your house. Support me like that. And that's what I tell people at my family reunion. They like, well, you don't come with this. My cousin would ask me, why you don't come with no books, no clothes? Dude, I live in Arizona. I'm not finna travel with all that stuff. I have websites. You can order it. I have real companies. You see people with it. It's real. Go in there and order something. But people want stuff cheap or want me to give it to them. And I say, and that's just a dilemma that I had to get past, Noble Carlin, as I started doing things. And then when I deal with my European colleagues and my European Masons and people I went to school with that know me for what I'm doing, they say, well, we support you. Like I told you, all my books in academia, a lot of college students have them. They got my name up in the vestibule. I get to go up there and lecture. So I know so many European Jews that buy their yarmulkes from me and their talents. I know Masons that buy their fezzes from me. I know Al-Islam Muslims. They get all their kufis from me. Ask my mutis. I sell box of white kufis that they love. I let them get them for like $40. They be geeked. They like support me. But I get them by the book because I have purchases and wholesale license. They get their tunics from me. So I do real business. And they like, well, we don't have to deal with no one but you. And so that's what I tell my brothers and sisters. I have a real platform. I do real things. You can look me up right now, do a Google search on me on Google. Pull up Sheikh Khari Goodman Bay or Minister Khari Goodman and see what you get. You're going to get all positive stuff and things that I've done. That's what I'm telling people. In academia and all that, who should you be listening to about history and science? Thank you, Mother Carlin. And that's all I be trying to tell my family. But I love everyone. And I had to change. I had plenty nights talking to my dad, crying and everything, Carlin. I'm being honest. And when I go to academia and all my professors, they be, hugging me like, man, this and that. And I'm glad you made your own chart. And they buy my books and I lecture to all them. And then I don't be welcome in my community. No, none of my friends. I haven't done no lectures at their churches. All my lectures been with my Jewish colleague churches and at their synagogue and at their Masonic house. I'm just being honest. All my family and friends that go to churches, I never came to their church and did no speakings, not one. But I've lectured at European churches. Right here, I'm a member of the Peoria Library. I'll be going in there lecture to students. I lecture in a whole so-called Indian community. I lecture in a whole Jewish community. When people say the Jews only deal with European Jews, no, they don't. They deal with me. I just told y'all to get their yarmulkes and get their Jewish books from me. I'm telling you, right? Even I'm still a Morris haberdasher. People get their suits from me still. I give away suits. Every year I give away 20 suits to prisoners. I stopped because I just don't want to do it no more. So I just sell suits on my page. Do I still got a lot of suits? Yeah. I got a lot of suits still in my storage. People know me. I got a plethora of ties. Ask my muftis. Any of my muftis on here, all my muftis probably got 10 suits from me. Ask me if they pay for any of them. They gave a donation to get the shit shipped, but ask them. New suits, shirts, ties, everything from me. Ask any of my muftis. And I got a plethora of muftis. Ask each one of them, boom. Even if they don't have their kuthras and things, when we have our balls, we can have our own regalia. If they don't have it, who gonna pay for it? Me. And I'm not rich. But this is what I do. This is what I do. And I'm telling my brothers and sisters, I need y'all help. I need my family and friends' help. And so I always have joy, Carlin, because I met people like y'all and my muftis that didn't know me. And here is the product that the Creator allowed me to do with the Holy Spirit and share it with the world. No matter how little or how much of people it touch, the Holy Spirit within me and the Holy Spirit voice that allowed me to speak on behalf has touched lives of people that know it's real, that know me for this. So that's what I share with people, Carlin, and with the rest of my muftis. I'm an honest brother, but a workman is due his hire. It's a lot that I do, and I want to help the people. I give all my information. I tell people to email me. Like, I have a library. I don't care. I give you people stuff for pennies. Use me. Hit me up. Say, "She, man, let's do a lecture. Boom, boom, boom. Can you talk about this?" Yes, I can. I can help. I can assist. No matter. I'll never tell nobody what to do. I can add value to whatever you're doing. I promise you. And I can make you better at whatever you're doing. I'm telling you, because that's my gift. That's part of my gifts. That's one of my tools in my toolbox. I'm telling you. But I love y'all, man. Thank you. And once again, family, those that love me, hit me up. I need all y'all support. I really do. And I'm not afraid to ask. And I'm not afraid to ask for help. I'm not. I'm telling you, I'm nothing without y'all. I'm nothing without. And I know I got enough family or friends that we can do this. And I know it's enough of y'all that can spread it. I know this. And I know we've been hustled by those ones that say they're going to do this and do that, but they only do that on purpose to make a highlight on the small that's messing up. That's why I stand against all the stuff. Anybody can ask me anything about more science, about history, about anything, and I guarantee you I'll never lead you into no burning house. I guarantee you're going to be like, "Man, that felt good." I guarantee you. Kyler, I didn't make you a better man. You made yourself a better man. I promise you, Kyler, I'm always going to give credit back to the Spirit. This shit ain't got nothing to do with me. I don't deserve a goddamn thing, but I understand the gratitude. It's just the Spirit in me. But you made yourself a better man. I ain't nothing but a vessel. And I ain't shit. Excuse my candor. Without the Spirit that's working in me, maybe so the Holy Spirit that's working in you and me that had us aligned has allowed those spirits to be engulfed in you. Because you've been here before. You've been here before. Carlin, you've been around this road before, and nothing happened to change. What's happening? You're being illuminated. That's what I tell people. You don't give up love if your heart been broke. You find the right love. You've been here before. You see the wisdom in what I'm telling you? And this ain't got nothing to do with me. This got to do with the Spirit that's working in me and you that has allowed that manifestation to have that light bulb moment, to have that aha moment. And now that light bulb moment is happening just like when Malcolm was under the nation. That zeal, that understanding. This is what I'm telling people, that zeal. Where did the teachers come from? Because you had the teaching before. So the teacher has to give the credit. Why? Because I had something before. Something came out of me, and you didn't have to go to prison to get it. You didn't have to get locked up physically. Now, we might have been locked up here that allowed the physically to be in a form of not manifesting on its full cylinders, but look what that allowed. Being aligned the right way. With the right teachings. With the right teacher. With the right mapping guide. That's what this is about. Brother Carlin, and that's why I said, and you testify. How? Why? Because for everyone else. And that's why it's going to look like, no disrespect, Carlin, because the Creator is working with what we're doing. I got a lot popping off, and I don't even talk about it yet. A lot of my family and friends will be looking on the outside in, and I'm going to treat them the same way with love. You see, I ain't going to treat them no different. Because sometimes people cheer for you and support you when the seats is getting full. Then you got to bring them chairs. That's just an analogy. I get it, but see, you got to see this is real. You seeing the lives change, Noble Carlin, because the divine come first. That's what other people are saying. Money, it's a plethora of ways to make money. And see, Carlin, I'm from Florida. I was born in Plant City. I was born in Tampa, Florida. I'll be in Florida all the time. Last year, I just went to Florida. I did the eulogy for my uncle, my dad's brother. You can see it on my YouTube page. That picture on my Vimo account, the BBT Science Temple in Burning Bush, on my Venmo account where people donate. I'm on it. That's me at the microphone at my uncle's eulogy. Yeah, from Plant City. That's why I tell people, you can go on my Facebook page and my Instagram page. I got a cousin. I got pictures with me and my cousin. One of my cousins used to be Nation of Islam. You know, and so they do a lot of stuff that they don't understand with that paper stuff, but I illuminate it. But what I'm telling us, Carlin, my people know my voice, and it's an honor to be a part of y'all. And people use the internet for the right way, because I can be doing way other stuff on this internet, Carlin, to make a whole bunch of money, because I know how. I know a whole bunch of people, I'm gonna say it like this, misnomer Moors that think they know something. I could have sold ID cards a long time ago and made a whole bunch of money. I can do a Ponzi scheme and a pyramid scheme and make people buy my fake program, and it'd be some automated shit. I know how to do that. I know what a Ponzi scheme and a pyramid scheme is, selling people hopes and dreams. I tell people, I give y'all the books to Influencer. That's all they be coming from. And so, you know, yeah, everything is a science. And that's why I tell everything is energy. Once the energy is harnessed the right way, you master everything you into. And like I tell people, I'm good in a lot of things. Like, I'm a personal trainer. Like, I'm getting ready to be 48. I got an 8-pack. I run 5 miles every damn morning. Every morning. I got family that say they want to get in shape. They don't even get with me. I make herbal concoction. Nobody get with me. No one. But other people. And that's why I said we don't use what we have. Now it's time. And so people like you, Carlin, you're not stepping on nobody's feet. And I just wanted to say that to you. Because if this was the dojo and your zeal taking you to go here, man, you sit right next to the teachings. And you get everything you need. Because that's what I'm for. I'm telling you. I have no problem saying that. It's like once we get our physical temple and I'm there and people don't come to study, but you come to study every day and they see your life changing, they see manifestations happen, and they ain't there, they out in the streets, they bull crapping, or they ain't using their time to do the same thing you doing, that's on them. I know everybody's thoughts. Carlin, listen, I tell people, look, I deal with my Orisha. I deal with the Santeria. I'm into this. Like, I deal with the illegal. These ain't no, like, my bees, like, this is what I do. I do this every single day, repetitious. How? I feel people's spirits. And that's why a lot of stuff I don't talk about. That's why I can make money just like these girls be on the internet talk about they reading people tarot cards. I can do that. I got them. I got them in all manifestations. Like, I do this. Like, in real life. Not no fake stuff. Like, I do this. You know? So when people be talking, it's like, man, I don't want to hear all that. This stuff is for me. I know how spirits come. Ask any of my movies. I know people anger when they coming. I give you what you want to. And what? It'll what? Consume you. I tell a person that what's going to happen. Why? Because the mind have to have a certain aptitude to be ready for things. A person that use black magic in the wrong way, because our science is magic, and it'll consume you. I'm telling you what I know. I know people try to get next to me and say, oh, I'm going to read. And I said, dude, no, your life is in shambles. I slow things down. I get you in the proper mind state, the proper body. The body must be in the proper shape, because what you putting in your mouth and things is polluting what? Your pineal gland. You ain't even thinking straight. Why? Because you worried about what's going on with everybody else. You worried about what's going on. Your life is not in a prep state. What you mean? Okay, I'll do this at this time, this that time. If I go this, your life need to be on a prep state. If you making money, you sit down and say, okay, these are my bills. What bills? My recurring bills. These are my recurring bills. I teach this. What are your recurring bills? The bills your ass gonna have that come every month. That's what. So if you telling me I don't know my recurring bills, that's crazy as hell. I don't know my rent. I don't know my bills. If I get my haircut, I don't know my groceries. I don't know if what I spend. If I smoke pot or if I drink or all that, you don't know that. You don't know all those things. That's recurring. You should. That's how you know what you can do, and we know what we can do. That's how when your life slow down, when the regular life slow down, and you can see your life changing. You're really working out every day. You're really in your studies every day. You know what you can do when you talk about first fruits, where your money being broke 3 ways, and when you have joy, and when you ain't nothing is clandestine, and you represent who you are. Even with my muftis, all of my muftis, they never wore the fez before. Most of my brothers, they didn't wear the fez. They didn't wear turbans. Most of my brothers I meet, they ain't never wore no fez and no turbans. You look at their pictures. They wear fez and turbans and kufis and bonnets now from love. That ain't got nothing to do with me. They gimmick her like it's all from you. I said, no, that ain't got nothing to do with me. That got the Holy Spirit to do with me, and the confidence that the Holy Spirit allow you to witness in the flesh, to give you the confidence and accept it and understand. So when you walk out your doors, a person can ask you, what's that? And you have the right and not be offended and teach it from the right place and know where to stop off and say, well, you can come to class and you can learn a little bit more from my sheep. You should know the basics, just like anybody that's a Mormon, or just like if you work and you got, well, what's the skit or not the skit, where you should have written out what you do, your memo. And so when we Moors, our basics should be the same. What the feds represent, it can represent this esoterically and exoterically, the basic things. Those things should be understood. Once those basic things are understood, the confidence, that's why Moors don't wear their fez. That's why you don't see Moors wearing a turban. Most Moors don't even know how to tie a turban. They wear the ones, no disrespect, that you just put on your head, which is no disrespect, but it's certain things that go with our culture, that we provide. And the confidence, the understanding, so you will know that you're not one of these jackleg sovereign citizens. You can be like, no, we ain't one of these goofballs that they making. No, we ain't none of that. You can stand with pride and represent, because they know what you attached to. They know that your fruit was attached to a great branch. Why? Because when they look at it and they look at my background, they know the branch that the fruit is attached to only bear good fruit. And they know if you're dealing with me, if the fruit start materializing the bullcrap, you're going to bow out anyway, because it's going against everything I'm saying. You'll disappear on your own. And ain't nothing I have to do. I tell people this like a revolving door. And all my movies will tell you, like, she ain't telling you no lies. Everybody that done left with me, they had other issues. And they had other issues coming into it. And I don't let nobody put their issues on me. I just turn the mirror. The mirror only reflects what's in it. You think you fat? Yep. The mirror only going to reflect what you represent. That's why I said the inside have to match the outside. And when you come to this, you better be ready to do what? Self-reflect. You better be ready to self-reflect. Why? Because it's all going to come out. I'm telling you, it's all going to come out. It's like a detox. The Holy Spirit does that. The Holy Spirit detox. And I said, people run away after, hey, Carlin, I done had people, and I ain't going to say their names, my mufti, you know, oh, she got love you crying on my damn shoulder. And then when things don't go out the way because they ain't doing things right and they have drinking problems and we bring it to the light, now all of a sudden, I ain't no good. How all the things I've done for a person over the years, helped them out, gave them things, brought science, and now all of a sudden, when the mirror's being turned, I ain't no good. But that's how Negroes are. And I tell our brothers and sisters that's in this science, you got to be built up a certain way to not take things personal. I done been through so much, Carl. I done lost so much. I done took so many losses where I'm okay with those things. I done seen my brother dead. I done seen my homie Miguel dead. I done seen my friend Mike Ville get killed by his brother. So it's okay with me. You see, Brother Carlin? And we can go on and on all day with the science. But once again, the science that I'm giving you, you've been here before. It's just, it wasn't taught the right way. Remember what I always say, you don't have to change nothing. You don't have to change nothing. You say, I showed you how to treat people, Carlin. And see, I'm glad. Wait till we get our temple, and when y'all be able to be there. And if you don't be there, and once I figure out how people can go live and they can be here with me and we can be talking. Once I figure that out, when I can let people on, and once things going, because people need to see this. Because I learned how to deal with people, Carlin. I had a father. A lot of stuff I had to learn, so I throw it back to people. I throw the same thing back. I say, oh, wait a minute, because everything is wisdom. So if you look at everything as a learning moment, I don't take it personal. I understand linguistics. I'm not gonna let nobody get me caught up in linguistic apartheid. I know how to stand strong with truth and just turn the mirror around. I know how to walk away. You know what I mean? I know how to walk away from things. I don't engulf my things. I don't engulf myself in battles. You know what I mean? I don't challenge certain things. I'll give you another example, Carlin. I'm not gonna challenge somebody that they don't have nothing and they want to challenge me. You don't have nothing that for me. So why would I challenge you? Why would I even go there? I don't. And for me, as a teacher, any of my people know me. My empress will tell you, I done been all places with PhDs in African stores with people from Ghana, all these other places, and I don't say a word. And then when the people ask me stuff, the whole room be like, "You've been right here, don't say nothing," because I ain't here for that. It's certain. If I go somewhere and I'm scheduled to speak and teach, that's what I do. If I go somewhere and I'm a guest, I'm just a damn guest. Anybody know that when I be around my movie vacation, I don't be all ministering to pretend nobody know. I'm a guest. I'm good to be around. I bring the best out of people. You know? But once again, Carla, yeah, this is what this is about, Noble. So take advantage of everything. You know, take your wisdom, clean your wisdom up, you know, and come back out. You're coming out as a Noble of the BBT. And like I said, we're here to help everything. We help brothers. If brothers' money ain't all the way right, brothers want to come, we say, well, what brothers got? We help brothers, but brothers have to be sincere. Our BBT uniform this year, we all going to have, all the movements going to have their own attire. I picked some stuff out. I'm saying it's between 3 colors, and we're going to have our patches on it, you know, with our certain fit kufis to go, or toppies to go with our uniforms. Even though we have our fezzes, but we have other toppies to go with our uniform as well. Why? Because we're the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. We have our own charter, and we are a fraternal order. That's why. And I'm from the temple. That's it. I created my school for our brothers, and we're not orthodox. We got our own charter, and we don't gravitate to one science where we miss the rest. So Noble Carlin, brother, like I'm telling you, continue to learn, and my doors are open. Anything you need, because what's going to happen is you're going to be a testimony, just like the rest of my brothers. As we continue to build, and we are disciples and apostles, people are going to see you. People are going to see the growth in you. People are going to see what you're a part of and want to be a part of that, because we don't do things alone. You know, that's what's going to happen. They're going to see. They're going to be like, well, what you dealing with? What group of brothers? They're going to see. You're going to see how we operate. You're going to see how we roll. And you're going to see the importance of brotherhood. You're going to see the importance of structure. Because one thing people can't do, they can't destructure. They can't destructure. They can't destructure. They can't diss that. Because brotherhood and organization is a real thing. So once again, thank y'all, man. I love y'all. Peace, light, and illumination. And family and friends, support your brother. Hit me up. I definitely would love for all my family and friends to donate $100 a month to our ministry. I give you a tax return receipt. I give you so many gifts, and that's all I can say. And every time I get on here, Carlin, I'm gonna end with the same thing. I'm gonna ask my family and friends for their support, you know, and ask family to give a tax return receipt. I'm gonna ask the same every time, and I hope everybody feel okay with me doing that. Thank y'all. Peace. Ciao.